If you've ever wanted to build your own AI model, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. It's Friday. It's Friday, but we call it Friday around here. We're going to close out yet another busy week here today. Got a full show here for you today. There's some news to go over. We had some earnings from last night. A lot of AI stuff going on. We got green arrows here in the market. We got Mark Putrino coming on. We got Anne-Marie coming on. And of course, we're going to have 13 helping you get prepared for the market open here. It is absolutely wonderful to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Friday edition for Friday, May 8th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful Thursday. I know if you're a Pistons fan, you're feeling pretty good here today after that win yesterday. Let's have a great Friday here and close out yet another busy week on top. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Cam, good morning. Ohio gozaimasu. I'm afraid I don't know what that means, but I absolutely love your energy and good morning and welcome back. A great day of trading to be had today. Good luck indeed. Let me know what that means, Cam. You've sparked my curiosity, as they say. It's Japanese. Okay. Well, I understand a little bit of Japanese, but I don't understand that one. I do understand onigashimasu, but this looks like a not proper way of saying hello, I guess is the right word. Maybe like a slang way of saying hello. Nonetheless, good morning. Hello. Peter, good morning. Only 5 inches of snow and it all melted. Well, there's not supposed to be snow in May, so I'm glad that it melted for you. Hopefully you've got a great weekend planned here. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Oh, and Peter, why did the Avalanche have 5 days off between their last game? Do you know? It's I felt like they should have been playing last night. Nonetheless, Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. And good morning to the Benzie gang. Love it, Zach. I tell you what, the energy here already starting off amazing. I absolutely love it. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Derek, it's great to see you, my man. Good morning and welcome back. Hopefully you're well. Yes, that girl. Good morning, Freya. Yes, that girl with the energy. Let's go. Let's go. Cad Monkey, good morning. Welcome back. Alex, good morning. Anybody think we'll see a mid-May dip starting today? Saw some popular gainers start dropping a bit late yesterday. So actually, this is a great question. We did see a little bit of a pullback yesterday, and I think I was actually going to cover this when we break down the chart, but since you asked such a great question, we might as well cover it now. One of the things I'm watching for here today is this the start of a kind of a trend change, or do we just have like a little bit of a pullback after a really impressive run in the market? Yesterday felt like run-of-the-mill 40 million shares versus an 80 million share average for the SPY, like not really a big deal, just kind of a pullback. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and be like, yeah, we're rolling over here and we might have some more trades to the short side. Maybe that'll be the case, but I'm not sure we have enough information yet. Let's see how we close up here today. As far as your May question, remember, sell in May and go away has been an old adage, but people haven't been saying that recently. The last couple of Mays has been buy it and then sell it higher later in the year. So we'll see. What I would say here as far as advice, and this is not a cop-out, but I would say be nimble. I would say be nimble because nothing's guaranteed at the moment. CMI, CAT, MU, Broadcom all dropped about 3 to 5%. Think they'll recover or keep dropping a little lower? So you're asking the right questions here. Here's the thing. I don't think the AI theme is done. Some of the news that we're going to have today is going to show you how the AI theme is really kind of carrying this market. Those stocks that you listed there, I mean, even Caterpillar, that's an AI infrastructure play at this point because that equipment is used to build data centers and all of the things that plug into it. So I would say where we sit here today, Friday, May 8th, I would say that dips in these should be bought if you have a long-term perspective. Now, obviously, your own risk parameters are going to really come into play there. But I'm not ready to throw the towel in on any of the AI names. Good way to start a Friday, though, Alex. Welcome. Dirkus, good morning. Welcome back. Great to see you. Whis, good morning. Welcome. Whis. Cubs Braves coming up here. Cubs Braves coming up here. Two of the best records in all of baseball. Going to be an amazing series. I love you to death, but go Cubbies. Corey says, just buy calls every day. Honestly, like not the worst idea in the world. You're going to lose some days. Probably would have lost yesterday. But with the market trading up like this, buy calls. Buy calls. Captain Cloudy, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Big Hurt, good morning. Welcome back. Azrar, good morning. Welcome back. Jay Harris, great, awesome Friday. Indeed it is, Jay Harris. We're going to have a good one. Brent says, too bad this will be my last watching of the channel for a while. What did I do this time, Brent? What did I do? I took a warehouse manager position and I start Monday. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, congratulations on your new job. You will be missed. If you're a manager, hopefully you can do a great job early on so that you can hang out and plan for the day in the office. And during that period, you can join us and you can trade from your other job. I'm just kidding, man. Congrats on the new job. We'll keep the seat warm for you for when you can come back. Liam, good morning. Welcome back. HK Matt, good morning. Welcome back. Akanda, good morning. Welcome back. Thank God it's Friday indeed. Ed, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through. It's great to see you. Good morning. Welcome back. Me every time says, oh no, I missed the if you from Ryan. I'm just glad people are showing up for that, and you guys don't think it's all corny. It's a nice little way to kick it off. You can always rewind and see what it is. You didn't really miss a whole lot here, but appreciate you. Good morning. Welcome back. Kelly, good morning. Welcome back. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Lion Atlas, great to see you. Good morning. Welcome back. Abdul, is Apple going to be a good day? Well, Apple's popping here in the pre-market, had an impulse move, little pullback, new highs in the pre-market. I'm expecting some strength here, but let's see what the market does, because if the market doesn't cooperate, Apple may move lower. We'll see. So far, where we sit here today, looking good. We'll see what it is at the open. Let's go print some money for the weekend. Never a bad plan, Lion. Never a bad plan. JJ, good morning. It's great to see you as always, boss. Welcome back. Janie, good morning. Welcome back. Ohio is good morning. Gozamasu is just the formality. Okay, well, there you go. I'm learning Japanese every single day. I really think so. Ryan, I said a few days ago, I expect a correction mid-May. So I don't doubt it. I actually think, like I was saying just yesterday, I think a correction or a move down here would actually be good for the rest of the year and long term here for the market, as long as it's not like a panic-induced collapse or anything like that. I expect a pullback to actually be good. We'll see if we get it in May. Corporate earnings have been great. What's the market's been resilient against the Middle East conflict? What's the catalyst? Could it happen? Yeah, absolutely it could. On top of my game says, can I make a suggestion? We always take feedback here, buddy. We always take feedback. Rooster, good morning. Welcome back. Master of Darkness, good morning. Welcome back. I do love that name. HP Darkside Hemi, good morning. Welcome back. Night Slants, good morning. Welcome back. Forsman, it's great to see you as always. Good morning. Welcome back. Yeah, it is going to be a good series. There's no question there. Tyler, good morning. Welcome back. Kenjalia, good morning. Welcome back. Matthew, it's great to see you. Kenzu, good morning. Abuba, I guess we'll go with that. Good morning. Welcome back. Brandy, good morning. And Abby, good morning. On top of my game, I said, yeah, go ahead. But all right, if you've got somewhere better to be, peace, bro. Have a great weekend. Astro Kev, good morning. Welcome back. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, we've got green arrows across the board here today ahead of Friday's open and ahead of the weekend. S&P futures up 0.51%, Dow futures up 0.35%, and the NASDAQ futures up 0.74%. So green on the screen and across the board here today. We will absolutely take that. Now let's take a look at some cues from the last session here, shall we? Communication services and information technology stocks bucked the overall market trend to close higher on Thursday, while most S&P 500 sectors ended negatively, led heavily by losses in materials, energy, and industrials. U.S. stock futures rose on Friday after Thursday's declines. This followed an exchange of fire near the Strait of Hormuz between the U.S. and Iranian forces. Speaking to an ABC reporter, Trump referred to the exchange as, quote, just a love tap, end quote. According to a social media post by the journalist, he also added that the ceasefire was still in effect and ongoing. Today, investors await the non-farm payroll data for the month of April, scheduled to be released before the opening bell. We'll bring it to you as soon as we have it here. FactSet projects the median estimate for the month to rise by 65,000. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.36%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.9%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show the market's pricing in a 94.8% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during the June meeting. Now, we've got some stocks in focus here for you today. The first one is actually going to be Coinbase. I had my thing mixed up here. Sorry about that. Coinbase fell 3.62% in the pre-market on Friday after reporting downbeat first quarter financial results. It reported first quarter revenue of $1.41 billion, which was down 31% year over year. The revenue total missed the street consensus of about $1.53 billion. They did also say in their report that the crypto trading volume reached a new record high, however. So it'll be very interesting, despite the red arrows here in Coinbase in the pre-market. That stock might be set up for a bounce here today. So at minimum, keep it on your watch list. The next stock on our list is going to be Cloudflare, and the ticker is NET, N-E-T. It plunged 16.74% after it reported upbeat earnings, but cut 20% of its workforce during the first quarter. Cloudflare Q1 adjusted EPS of 25 cents beat the 23-cent estimate. Sales came in at $639.75 million. That beat the estimate of $621.86 million. Cloudflare sees Q2 adjusted EPS of 27 cents versus the 27-cent estimate, and they see sales of $664 million to $665 million. That was versus an estimate of $665.33 million, so actually slightly under. That's why Cloudflare is trading lower here today. The next stock on our list is going to be the Trade Desk, and the ticker on this one is TTD. It dropped 14.43% after reporting mixed first quarter financial results. Trade Desk Q1 adjusted EPS of 28 cent missed the 32-cent estimate. Sales of $688.85 million beat the estimate of $679.2 million. Trade Desk Q2 revenue is expected to be more than $750 million, but that's less than the estimate of $771.63 million. Trade Desk got absolutely Hammered. Absolutely hammered. Next stock on our list is going to be Bill. This is ticker BILL. And Bill Holdings jumped 7.09% as it reported total revenue of $406.6 million. That was an increase of 13% year over year and diluted earnings of 12 cents per share. Bill Holdings sees Q4 adjusted EPS of 69 cents to 72 cents. That was versus a 59-cent estimate, so nice guide there. They see sales of 425 to 435 million, and that was versus an estimate of 430.53 million. The final stock on our list is going to be CoreWeave, and the ticker is CRWV, and it fell 8.76% as it reported first quarter adjusted loss of 112 per share. That missed the estimate for a loss of 90 cents per share. However, it was, quote, the strongest booking quarter in CoreWeave's history, end quote. That came from Michael Intrater, the co-founder and CEO of CoreWeave. CoreWeave also affirms full year 26 sales guidance of 12 to 13 billion. That's versus an estimate of 12.502 billion. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart. Let's see where we sit and where we might be going here today. Now, we are currently set up for opening at a new all-time high. The all-time high from yesterday's candle here is going to be 734.59. We're currently at 735.26. So if we hold this going into the open here, we will set a new all-time high out of the gate. Now, as far as some of the other levels here, especially some of those pullback levels, our 20-day moving average has now crept up to the 710 level. We've identified that as a potential support for what feels like a week or two now here, and it looks like that's going to be another one of our levels. Also, keep in mind this 725 level. This was an impulse move that flashed a bearish candle that 2 days later we ended up blowing through. I would say if we come back in, you might be able to find some support there at 725. The one caveat with all of these levels, remember this run up off the recent pullback done almost entirely on less than average volume. So if the volume really steps in here, some of these support levels, if we do continue to move down, might not offer a whole lot of support. That's where we're at. Otherwise, we're breaking out and we'll see how high we go. If you folks have any ideas or targets on where we might go here today, I would absolutely love to hear that. Now, let's take a look at some insights from analysts here today. Senior global market strategist Scott Wren notes that despite geopolitical tensions in the Persian Gulf, the U.S. stock market has hit record highs as investors focus on artificial intelligence and first quarter earnings reports. Wren points out that tech sector earnings are surging, with 2026 AI-related spending commitments reaching, quote, north of 800 billion, end quote. However, Wren cautions about elevated risks regarding the Strait of Hormuz. He warns that a near-term closure could damage, quote, fragile global energy supply chains, end quote. Eventually, he expects this could turn price volatility into a, quote, actual shortage that disrupts the supply of refined products, end quote. Regarding market strategy, Wren expects information technology to remain, quote, more attractive from a valuation perspective, end quote, than the energy sector. He also anticipates resilience in specific subsectors amidst these large uncertainties. He expects machinery and electrical equipment to benefit from the domestic data center build-out, while aerospace and defense should see a, quote, persistent upward re-rating on valuations as the U.S. rebuilds its military arsenal, end quote. Ultimately, he believes neither Washington nor Tehran is seeking a full-scale military confrontation. So Scott Wren still positive here. That's been the case for a while. That is just how it is. So we'll see. Let me know where you think we're going here. Do you think we see a sell-off ahead of the open? Do you think this actually sets up for a good move next week? All right. Next, let's talk about Coinbase here. They reported earnings last night. Let's actually check on Coin real quick in the morning, see how this morning is treating it. So Coinbase closed yesterday at 192.96, currently at 187.60 here in the pre-market, and it is up off the lows from after that print. So we'll see if Coinbase can end up getting rolling here today. Coinbase reported first quarter revenue of $1.41 billion, down 31% year over year. The revenue total missed a street consensus estimate of $1.53 billion, and that is all according to data from Benzinga Pro. Transaction revenue was $756 million in the first quarter. That's down 40% year over year. Subscriptions and services revenue was $584 million in the quarter, down 14% year over year. The company reported an adjusted loss of 17 cents per share, which missed the street consensus estimate of 29 cents per share. Prediction markets are called out by the company as one of the fastest products from Coinbase ever, hitting $100 million in annualized revenue in less than 2 months. Coinbase had an all-time high for crypto trading volume market share in the first quarter, reaching 8.6%. The company now has 12 product lines that generate $100 million in annualized revenue, with prediction markets on its way to becoming the 13th. Quote, "We executed well on what was in our control in Q1," end quote. That came from CEO Brian Armstrong. He went on to say, "We have huge growth in derivatives trading volume driven by our Everything exchange." Armstrong also said over 90% of on-chain agentic stablecoin transaction volume is also happening on Base. Quote, "We believe there will soon be billions of agents transacting and they will need rails that can keep up. And Coinbase is at the center of the agent economy," end quote. Coinbase had positive adjusted EBITDA for a 13th consecutive quarter. The company also had its 12th consecutive quarter of quarter-over-quarter native unit inflows, with strength reported in major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, ticker BTC, Ethereum, ticker ETH, and Solana, ticker SOL. Coinbase highlighted its 2026 priorities, which are the following: the Everything exchange, stablecoins, and payments, and on-chain. The company had transaction revenue of $215 million quarter to date through May 5th. Company guidance in that second quarter subscription and services revenue will be in the range of $565 million to $645 million. So Coinbase, I know it's pulling back a little bit here. It's really not breaking down. It actually sounds like the report is not terrible. So let me know if you folks think Coinbase is actually a buy. Let me know if you guys like Coinbase going forward here. Okay, next here, this is a story about CoreWeave, NVIDIA, and Iron, and I guess also AMD. Like I said, we have quite a bit here on AI-related stuff today. So let's go ahead and break through this here. CoreWeave CEO says NVIDIA must expand AI capacity or risk losing customers to AMD as Iron deal boosts infrastructure. So several of you that are looking for stuff on Iron, eat your heart out. Here you go. We can also take a look at Iron when we do ticker time a little bit later. We could also ask Mark Putrino about that. That might be a great chart for us to review in a couple of minutes when he comes on here. 10 minutes until we get that data print, about 10 minutes till Mark Putrino. So we are cruising here. NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, their latest partnership with Iron, ticker IREN, underscores the chip giant's aggressive strategy to scale AI infrastructure globally as demand surges and competitive pressures from advanced micro devices, ticker AMD, intensifies. Speaking to CNBC, CoreWeave, again, CRWV, CoreWeave's co-founder and CEO Michael Intrater said NVIDIA's growing infrastructure investments reflect the urgency of maintaining sufficient compute capacity across the AI ecosystem. He noted that NVIDIA, now valued at around $5 trillion, must ensure it delivers sufficient AI computing capacity across the entire technology stack, warning that failure to do so could push customers towards rivals such as AMD. Intrater added that NVIDIA is, quote, covering their bases, end quote, through strategic partnerships designed to secure long-term infrastructure leadership. And remember, this is a key thing here because there's a lot of talk about this being circular, it not being good for the market, not being good for these stocks. CEOs are telling you actually it is. And the reason that they have to do this is because if they don't, and if they don't do it early, they're actually going to lose some of that revenue that they're trying to recoup. AMD now entering as a major player there. Iron announced Thursday that it will work with NVIDIA to deploy up to 5 gigawatts of NVIDIA's DSX-branded AI infrastructure across its global data center footprint. As part of the agreement, NVIDIA secured the right to purchase up to 30 million IREN shares at $70 each over 5 years, a deal that could translate to a $2.1 billion investment. The move positions IREN as a rising AI cloud and hyperscale infrastructure player while giving NVIDIA expanded deployment channels for its hardware. Futurum Group's chief market strategist Shay Ballur said the partnership could accelerate IREN's evolution into a, quote, a real AI cloud platform, end quote. NVIDIA has also pursued similar supply chain and infrastructure agreements with companies including Corning, ticker GLW, Coherent, and Lumentum, reinforcing its broader strategy to dominate every layer of the AI economy. Every layer of the AI economy. Now, since you asked, let's actually go back here real quick. We'll check out the IREN chart itself. Here's what it looks like, and I'll tell you what, this actually looks really good. We've had a trend line on here since November of last year. We've been in a downtrend. It definitely looked like IREN was trying to put in a bottom here. We kind of have this double bottom around 33.5. And now on the push back up, in addition to recapturing some of the moving average lines that we watch every day, we also took this trend line out, and we did so with authority and higher volume. This chart to me looks good. I would be entirely unsurprised if IREN wants to go challenge these mid-70 highs here that it put in recently. So Sam, let me know on IREN, are you bullish on this? Do you own it? Do you have any price targets? What's your trade plan here for IREN? I'd be curious to know. And anyone else in the group that might have an IREN trade plan as well. Okay, 7 minutes ahead of the data print and Putrino. We are absolutely cooking here, folks. Boeing's China order hopes revive as Trump is inviting CEOs to Beijing for that meeting that we have been talking about recently. The Trump administration is reportedly inviting several tech and business leaders to accompany the president on his trip to Beijing next week. The planned invitees include Boeing CEO, that's ticker BA, Kelly Ortberg, NVIDIA CEO, Jensen Huang, as well as CEOs of Apple, no word if it's Cook or Turnus, ExxonMobil, according to the report from Semaphore on Thursday. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, as well as U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, have been suggesting names of leaders to invite to China, according to the report, citing anonymous sources familiar with the matter. Other leaders could include executives from Visa, ticker V, Qualcomm, ticker QCOM, and Citigroup, ticker C. And again, that all came from the report. The meeting holds significance for Boeing as it was reportedly in talks with multiple Chinese airlines to secure an order of over 500 aircraft last year. Ortberg, during Boeing's first quarter earnings call late last month, shared that he was, quote, confident that the upcoming summit would include the aircraft manufacturer's order. Quote, President Trump has been very focused on supporting us in international campaigns, and he's been very successful in doing that, end quote. Ortberg said that during the earnings call with analysts and Boeing investors. The deal with China, if it goes through, could provide a major boost for the company and offset rival Airbus, which is ticker EADSF on the OTC markets, could offset rival Airbus's dominance in the Chinese market. Notably, Boeing has failed to secure any major orders from Chinese airlines in close to a decade. It's also worth noting that China was the first country to ground the 737 MAX jet following the 2019 crash, when a 737 MAX 8 aircraft, MAX 8 aircraft operated by Ethiopian Airlines crashed, resulting in the death of 157 people. The crash was preceded by another 737 MAX incident when Lion Air Flight 610 crashed in Indonesia in late October of 2018. Artificial intelligence is expected to be at the forefront of the upcoming meeting. In China, with both parties expected to discuss the dangers of autonomous weapon systems, as well as the potential threat posed by attacks from malicious parties using advanced open source technologies. President Xi Jinping had earlier called upon tech and industry leaders within the country to step up efforts in research and innovation as the global tech race between the U.S. and China escalates. Huang had cautioned against isolating and victimizing China, pushing back against proposed restrictions on chip exports to the CCP-led country. He said that such a move could hurt U.S. interests in the future, as collaboration between the U.S. and Chinese researchers was key to developing innovations in the field of AI. I'll take the other side of that from Jensen, but he is, I guess, quote, the father of AI on that. So we'll see. We'll see if this provides a good piece of news here from Boeing, and maybe we get a trade there in Boeing. All right, 3 minutes. We're good. Let me go to Cloudflare here. Actually, let's see how. Yeah, let me go to Cloudflare here, and then I will break off and do the print, and we'll get Mark Putrino on here as well. Now, Cloudflare cuts 20% of its jobs despite a strong first quarter as it goes agentic AI first. Cloudflare, ticker NET, reported a strong first quarter revenue beat, but simultaneously announced that it will cut roughly 20% of its global workforce as the web infrastructure giant fundamentally restructures its operations around AI. So notice that this isn't going anywhere, but rather restructuring. This is what we assumed. Despite posting a 34% year-over-year revenue increase to $639.8 million, Cloudflare is shedding over 1,100 jobs. The company stressed that the move is not a defensive measure against macroeconomic headwinds, but rather a strategic pivot to an agentic AI-first operating model. CEO Matthew Prince explained that massive internal productivity gains from the AI technologies prompted the reorganization. Cloudflare's internal use of its AI tools surged 600% in just the last 3 months, with 97% of its engineers now actively utilizing AI coding assistance. Quote, "This is not a cost-cutting exercise or an assessment of the individual's performance," end quote. That, again, came from Prince during the earnings call. He went on to say, "It's about defining how a world-class, high-growth company operates and creates value in the agentic AI era." Management noted that the efficiency of autonomous AI agents has fundamentally changed the nature of support roles within the company, allowing it to streamline operations while actually accelerating the hiring quota carrying sales representatives. This massive operational shift comes as Cloudflare positions itself at the epicenter of the AI boom, providing the vital cloud infrastructure needed to route, secure, and manage exploding volumes of AI-generated traffic. Quote, "AI is driving a fundamental replatforming of the internet and a paradigm shift in how software is created and consumed." Again, that came from Prince. And he went on to add, "It's shaping up to be the biggest tailwind we've ever seen in Cloudflare's history." He doesn't sound scared about AI. He sounds optimistic. That's just my read through. Despite the strong first quarter results and a raised full-year profit outlook, Cloudflare shares tumbled nearly 16% in overnight trading, followed by the announcement. Investors appeared cautious over the company's second quarter guidance and the anticipated 140 to 150 million in restructuring charges tied to the layoffs. Nevertheless, leadership remains confident that replacing legacy structures with an AI-driven backbone will make the firm structurally faster and more innovative. All right, it is time for Mark Putrino, but we also have a data point out. Let's see if it is out here real quick. All right, here we go. U.S. non-farm payrolls for April, 115K versus the 65K estimate. Oh my gosh, the prior read was 178K. U.S. unemployment rate for April came in line at 4.3% versus the 4.3% estimate. U.S. average hourly earnings month over month for April came in slightly lighter at 0.2 versus the 0.3 estimate. And it looks like the S&P futures here, the reaction to this was positive as we popped to a high of 736.14 on the SPY. And it looks like we traded up to a high of 74.08 on the S&P futures. So a minor move here. We were up, what, 0.4%? We're up 0.56% now after we've got that print. So a little bit higher here on that, but not gangbusters, not yet. We're still on track for our new all-time high open. All right, folks, it's Friday. It's a fun Friday, and you know what that means. It is time for the one and only Mark Putrino. Let's go ahead and bring him on and move this Friday along. Mark, good morning. Happy Friday, boss. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Look, we might get some warmer weather here. I think golf season, I think it's official. We can say it started here. It's Friday, so I'm extremely happy about that.
Nice. Cool. And I'm excited because it's a big day over here in conspiracy land. So
Oh,
the government is releasing the UFO files today. So we will see.
dude,
Yeah.
and we've never talked about this, Mark. We've never talked about this privately or on camera, so I'll just go ahead and say it now. I love this story. I have been into UFOs and aliens since I was a little kid. I am excited to see. I don't think we're going to get anything crazy out of this, but I am excited. So I am all for your conspiracy theory Friday.
Well, I would just suggest, I mean, not to get off topic here, but I would suggest everyone find the interview where there's this, what they call the Tic Tac video, where it's a UFO that looks like a Tic Tac that was filmed by two Navy pilots. And it's two Navy pilots, but they're in two planes flying next to each other. And they have the interview with the pilots. And one of the pilots was a woman, and she was saying how this thing flew, it was like a checkerboard. It was making 90-degree turns without slowing down at all. And then the pilot said it flew right in between them. The planes were about 50 yards apart, and it flew right in between them. And one of the pilots said, whatever was in the control of that thing was mocking us. So should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited. The Go Fast video, the gimbal video, the Tic Tac video. I don't dismiss reports from trained aviators. They know what they're looking at. They know probably better than anyone else what they're looking
My
at.
wife actually took a picture of one. She was on the plane coming back from Atlanta, and yeah, it looks like a little golf ball. Yeah, it's wild. She
Mark,
said it was.
You got to be you need to be texting me this weekend. We got to talk about that. We got to go over this weekend. This is too juicy for me to just leave sitting out here in the ether. But we'll do that over the course of the weekend. Let's get back to the stock market here. What do you got for us today?
All right. Am I sharing? Yes. I am waiting for a big reversal. Now, I will tell you why. The only thing that's been going up is tech. Financials have been going sideways, healthcare has been going sideways, communication services. And within tech, it's really the semiconductors. Intel, based on a weekly RSI, is literally the most overbought that it has ever been in its history. Going back, the chart doesn't even, I can't even put it on one screen. It goes all the way back to 1972. This is the most overbought that it has ever been, ever in its history. So, as traders, when we hear historic things like that, we need to pay attention. So, the idea here is, this thing could keep running forever. Well, I mean, not forever. I shouldn't have said that. This thing, I'll say the exact opposite. It's not going to run forever. At some point, it's going to reverse. And, for people that are options traders, you could think about buying puts. Same thing with AMD. It's extremely overbought. What leads the market up tends to lead the market down when that reversal happens. So for those of you who are not options traders, we can start thinking about something like this. And this is what I was looking at, this ETF that is inverse to the semiconductors by 3 times as much. So this could be, if the market really starts to come apart, this could be a good place to go, because this will move in the opposite direction of the semis by about 3 times as much. Now, remember, of course, if it goes against you, you're going to lose money by 3 times as much, but it's just good to know that it's out there. If we look at these other sectors real quick.
These really quick, SOXS and SOXL, these are great trading vehicles, Mark, but these are not designed to really be held overnight or for multiple days. It's just not how they work. They're great for trading, though. If you can catch one of them, they can be extremely profitable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it's amazing because a lot of people aren't even aware that these things are out there. A lot of the people I talk to, they think there's this like ingrained thing where if you think the market's going to go down, you need to go to cash, or you need to just ride it out and wait because eventually things are going to be fine. But as traders, we don't want to put our heads in the sand, because when markets go down, there are a lot of opportunities, and markets go down faster than they go up. So sometimes the trades in down markets can even be easier. Like, for example, inflation is getting pretty ridiculous. I think everyone can agree with that. So instead of just worrying about it or complaining about it, well, you can hedge or even profit from it. When I started the Benzinga school trading school back in 21, That's when Powell and Yellen were lying to us about, well, I don't think they were lying. I think they actually believed it, that inflation was transitory.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked at the ISM report, which comes out every month. And there were 2 months in a row where every single commodity that ISM follows, there's like 300 of them, every single one was up 2 months in a row. I never saw that before, and I haven't seen it since. But a lot of the students, I would assume some of them are out there right now, jumped in on this DBC, and this thing traded up 50% in 6 months because of inflation moving higher back then. So now here's the same thing. I mean, if inflation is going to keep going higher, you can hedge yourself or even profit if you get on the right side of this thing. So there's always things going on out there. But looking at the broader market, let's just go through these sectors real quick here. There's 11 sectors, and different sectors are in the driver's seat at different times. Now, this is like as one dimensional as you get for a market. This is our technology sector. Other big sectors, financials, really nothing going on over there. Healthcare, really not too much going on here. I mean, it's in a little bit of an uptrend, testing some short-term resistance. Sorry, this is consumer discretionary here. So consumer discretionary, healthcare, that's really not doing much. Communication services, right? So you see kind of what's going on here. It's like all the action has been in one sector. This is our technology sector. That's a big kind of reversal there yesterday. Consumer staples, right? And now we have our real small sectors, which really don't affect the broader market, but it's good to know what they're doing. For example, if that money starts to come out of tech, it's going to go somewhere. And I think one place to look would be the utility sector, because this could be setting up for some kind of an oversold bounce. The other thing would be, I think, the miners. The money that flows out of tech, if it happens, will probably, I would suspect, come back into the miners, and that could get the gold and silver stocks rocking again. But yeah, I mean, when things get to historic levels, you got to pay attention. Like, for example, we had, I think this was a stock of the day. PayPal was a pretty low risk trade a couple months ago, because here, this was literally the most oversold this had ever been in its history. And also on this particular day here too, we had the most volume that ever traded in this company's history. So when you hear these like historic things, most overbought ever, oversold ever, or highest PE ever, or lowest PE ever, you remember a lot of what we do in trading is based on this reversion to the mean. So if there's an extreme in one direction, there's a good chance there's going to be a pretty decent move back in the other direction.
Yeah. So all is rising here says, so where is the rotation going? That's a good couple of suggestions there. He went on to say space stocks next. Let me ask you a real quick question that we've been kind of kicking around here, Mark. Do you think that these big IPOs that we're expecting this year might be a catalyst to kind of draw significant funds out of some of the stalwart winners like NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, Apple, all of the AI hyperscalers?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah, that's go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, we got these, you see lots of IPOs when we get to market peaks, because just think about it, if the company thought that they could, if I'm running a company and I want to go public today, well, if I think I can get a lot more money for it in a year, I'm going to wait a year. So these people are going public because they think it's a good time to sell shares. So let's keep that in mind. I mean, before the internet bubble blew up, I mean, I know this is a long time ago, but there was a big trading firm called Herzog, Heine, and Geduld. Like, they sold out. Spear Leeds and Kellogg was another big firm. They sold out to Goldman Sachs. Like, these people, they saw these things coming when we were at the top there. And markets don't go up forever. So it's just a historical cycle. Eventually, we're going to have a big sell-off. People are going to freak out. They're going to sell everything, and then it's going to be time to buy again. And, the cycle will just go on and on and on like it has been for the last 250 years. So pretty interesting stuff, right?
Yeah, indeed. Another good question here. Cam saying, I also think many defense stocks are down. Is it time for some rotation into those? We've also heard a couple of people coming out saying that, the military needs to be rebuilt after the war here. Some of the munitions need to be replenished. And that should also be pretty good for defense stocks. What do you think about a possible rotation into defense names?
Yeah, I think that could make sense. We have to understand a lot of times in the institutional world, if you're a fund manager, whether it's just a regular fund or a hedge fund, you get hired by clients, right? A hedge fund man is a business that manages money for clients.
Mm-hmm.
The clients of hedge funds, the people that really run Wall Street, are the pension plans. These are these huge places that have all this money that need to get managed. And if you're a pension plan manager, like let's say I'm the head of the Connecticut State Pension Plan, and I want 20% of my money in cash and 20% in equity and say 60% in bonds, well, we'll go out and find an equity money manager, a hedge fund, or someone with good returns that fits our parameters and say, all right, well, here's equity money. We have someone else managing our cash. So if you get too much cash, our overall portfolio is going to be out of balance. So you are not allowed to have more than 5% of your money in cash. So if a money manager thinks that the market is going to go down, generally two things happen. They either buy puts on the SPY or whatever to hedge, or, and maybe both, they sell what they perceive to be risky and buy what they perceive to be not risky. So yeah, I mean, if that money comes out, it's got to go somewhere. It doesn't go into a safe, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about rotations, that's what we mean. How the money comes out of one sector, goes in somewhere else. Sometimes you can almost see, I mean, it's kind of lost it, but there are times where during the trading days, you can see it's almost like an inverse correlation between consumer staples and tech. So I would suspect if tech starts to roll over, there's going to be some strength here in staples as well.
Okay. It gives you something to watch. We saw an inverse relationship like that with SPY and oil as oil was climbing. The exact same thing happened.
Yeah, you know what? Let's look at I haven't looked at this in a while, the equal weighted ETF. So this is the
RSP, or which one do you have here?
this is the Nasdaq,
Gotcha. Okay.
the Nasdaq. But yeah, it's the same concept. So the way these indices are weighted are by market capitalization. So the bigger the company, the more it's going to weigh or more it's going to influence the index. Now, like at the end of 21, going back to the Benzinga trading school, we could actually go back to this. I probably, yeah, okay, look at that. So this peaked in November, all right? The regular Qs peaked in like the end of December. So the market really started falling apart in the end of November. But what happens is, let's say you have 100 stocks in an index and you have your top five make up 20 or 30% of it. Well, you could sell, most of those stocks could be going down. But if the money is going into the big ones, it's kind of like a flight to safety. The overall benchmark could keep going up, right? So it could mask some underlying weakness. So what I want to do here now is just to kind of see if there's a disconnect between this and the regular Qs. And at this point, I don't think it seems like it. But regardless, I still think that there's also the S triple Qs is something to think about. But there's the old saying, right? I love the old Wall Street sayings. The only people that can catch the bottom and the tops are liars. So what you have to do is wait for the reversal to start, because for all I know, I mean, it's like I don't know who said it, was a Rockefeller. The market can remain irrational longer than you can remain liquid.
Solvent. Yeah.
Yeah, or
Who
solvent.
is, you know what? Who is credited for that?
I would say it was, I think it was probably Morgan, JP Morgan, if I had to guess.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess. Let me see if I can find that out. The markets can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent is attributed to Maynard Keynes. John Maynard Keynes.
Yeah.
Keynes, I guess.
Yeah. Now he is going back to Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell. One of the reasons why they were so wrong about inflation is because they follow Keynes or Keynes, right? They're Keynesians. I'm not really sure how you say it. He was this economist, this British economist back in the 1920s and 30s who wrote really famous books about economics and so forth. Anyway, his way of looking at the economy was he only looked at what we call the demand side, which is basically the consumer. So in their thought process, if interest rates are going higher, it's because the consumer is really strong and doing well. And when the rates get higher, the consumer will cool off and the inflation will be transitory. Believe it or not, they don't look at the money supply. The money supply is the monetarists, the Milton Friedman school of economics. And basically, it's the more money that is out there, it increases inflation. If you have 100 goods in an economy and $100, and then the government comes along and throws in another $100, well, those goods will eventually cost $200. So when all this stimulus spending was going on with COVID and everything, that's what led to the inflation. Now, you're probably out there saying, well, how is it possible that Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen could be so whatever, laser focused or caught up in this guy's teachings? Well, it's kind of hard to believe, but I will say this: after the housing bubble blew up in 2008 or 9 or whenever it was, and Congress did their big investigation, one of their takeaways was Alan Greenspan was too caught up in the teachings of Ayn Rand, who wrote Where Atlas Shrugged, right? So
In the Fountainhead, yeah.
Yeah, so don't so these people, I think they just kind of get caught in their ivory towers and they just kind of lose touch with things. I think. I mean, it seems kind of hard to believe, but they were extremely wrong, right? I mean, I don't even think it's a debatable point. But anyway, all right. So I want to look at some. I'll take some questions.
Yeah, we do have one here right off the bat, folks. If you have any charts you want Mark to break down, let me know. The first one we're going to start with here is AIPO.
Ooh, AIPO.
Power and Infrastructure ETF. So it's not like an actual stock, but since we kind of talked about sector rotation and stuff here, let me take a look at this one.
Well, this AI, wow, this is pretty cool. I didn't know about this. Well, this could be some kind of little bit of reversal action going on here. Where are we this morning? Trading up again. Just that, I mean, we're trading right here, but yesterday's action, I mean, if you look at since this rally really kind of started, this is kind of the biggest reversal that it's had. And the fact that we closed below yesterday's open and even below the prior day's open means the trend could be kind of turning here. See, we got really overbought. So I think right now I would say that from a trading point of view, this looks kind of neutral, but I would be cautious, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cautious. All right. Good stuff there. All right. How about gold? How about gold and silver? GLD and SLV. They're often mentioned together. We might as well take a look at both of those charts.
Yeah, I mean, I think gold is making a little bit of a turn. We're going to take a look at the futures prices.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I think, yeah, you see, it looks really close. Silver, actually, I can't even talk. Silver, I think, might be on the verge of a little bit of a short-term breakout. So you kind of see what I'm talking about. And there's still a lot of really interesting stuff going on in the silver markets. I was talking to one of my students yesterday who's a silver trader, and actually, we couldn't actually see it. A lot of people supposedly are not very happy with the way the COMEX. I guess people have been saying they've manipulating. There's a lot of manipulation and stuff going on. So if you look at the volume, it's pretty interesting. He brought this to my attention yesterday. You'll notice that the volume is really on this one particular exchange is really drying up historically. So the implication is that the silver is being traded in other places. So even if we look at the longer term, well, let's look. Yeah, I mean, you could kind of see here how it's really dropped off to levels that were like from 10 years ago or so. So, I mean, I don't know how that translates into how we can profit from it, but I guess India just started a new silver exchange. Someone said to me. Um, but anyway, I guess that's kind of a little bit too much information overload. But to me, this looks like it could be on the verge of a little bit of a breakout. Now,
Yeah.
this is a really common thing in markets. One of the things about reading charts is regardless of whether what you're looking at, whether it's a stock or a ETF or a commodity, you see the same patterns because what we're looking at is the psychology of the people that are doing the trading. And regardless of what people are trading, they experience the same emotions. And even if we look at historical charts from the 1800s, you can see the same patterns that we see now, right? If I didn't label this chart and I said, "Hey, look at this new AI quantum computing stock I found," you want to, it's indistinguishable from a chart from today. And I think this is an important thing to look at because it really conveys how what this is, reading charts and so forth, technical trading is about understanding of people's emotions. And emotions have not changed in 150 years, even though a lot of other things have. I mean, think about it. The people that were trading down here, I think I was looking at this with my other student. Yeah. Like this is 1889. None of these people even had cars, right? Cars hadn't even been invented yet. But yet the market follows the same principles it does today. So anyway, going back to here, people who buy here regret buying when the price goes down and they say to themselves, if I can get out of this silver at break even, I will. So we rally back to resistance or support and it shifts into resistance. We sell off. Some of the sellers start to get anxious and impatient and they're afraid the other sellers will undercut them. So they reduce their prices. Others see that and do the same thing, and you get a snowball effect. But now we're testing the resistance. If we can get above that, we call that a breakout. And the reason why that can be interpreted as a bullish dynamic is because it tells you that the sellers who created the resistance are gone. So, in essence, the breakout is basically an illustration of supply being taken off of a market. And in any market, when you take supply out, meaning sellers, if new buyers come in, they're going to have a hard time finding sellers and they're going to have to really jack the price up to draw the sellers back in. So, yeah, it could be a little bit of a breakout here on silver. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see there. Brandy saying, I've heard that silver is the most manipulated thing in the market. You know what, Brandy? I have heard that too. In fact, one of my buddies who lives in London and often trades mostly metals, trades silver a lot. He says that to me all of the time. And the next time he says that to me, I'll push him a little bit more and get a little bit more on that. But I've heard the same thing, Brandy. It's funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean, my suspicion would be that it's probably not really done over here, but in some of these like Asian markets, I think they're just a lot less regulated and so forth than the markets are here. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some funky stuff going on out there.
Yeah. And then here, Lion says that's correct. Brian reminding us that JP Morgan had to pay a fine for doing that. Crimes for a legal fee. All right. We got another one here. Barb wants to know, do we have any opinions on DKNG? This is DraftKings. We affectionately call it Donkey Kong. We have not looked at this chart in some time, though. Let's take a look at DKNG and see what we can see on the chart.
All right. Well, this looks kind of a little bit interesting here, too, because this looks like it could be on the verge of a breakout. So we kind of the same thing we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
What was support became resistance. But in the pre-market, we look like we could be clearing that resistance. So this could be a breakout here, and it looks like it would have some room to run. I mean, I would anticipate we're probably not going to see meaningful resistance until we get back up to around here. But,
okay, so if we break that 25.5, that might be a swing long up to 35.5.
Yeah, I can see that. And we do have, it's not your perfect pattern, but you do have the lower highs here. I mean, sorry, the higher lows. And again, this morning, I guess it's on earnings. So this earnings might be enough to make it break out.
Okay, we'll see if we get that on DraftKings. Wonder what that did. Well, let's see. let me see here real quick. Sorry for breaking up the flow here. So this is what, May 7th. What did they do last May, Mark? What did they do? I think
DraftKings?
they, yeah, I think that it was, yeah, I think they traded up. If I recall correctly, I'm trying to tap my memory, and I've got a goldfish memory, Mark, so this is never a good idea. But I'm trying to remember back to last year. I really do think that in the May quarter here, we ended up trading up.
Yeah, it must have been right in here.
Yeah, I think so too. There you go, Barb. There's your DraftKings breakdown. Mark, we got a couple of minutes left here. Can we do Rocket Lab, RKLB?
RKLB. All right, what do we got here? So trading higher on earnings. Now, I guess the obvious thing to look at here would be if we move ahead, there's a good chance there's going to be some resistance there because this is also buyer remorse, but it's manifested in a different way. People buy at the resistance and it goes lower and they say, darn, I'll hold this, but if I can get out at break even eventually, I will. So there's probably people who bought up here around 90 who are watching this now, thinking if this thing gets back up to 90, I'm going to get out of this thing at break even finally. So I would anticipate that there could be some resistance there. So I don't see much. That might be resistance in between here and there. So if it gets there, you just watch to see if it reverses and then, or if it breaks out, because it probably won't. When these stocks get to these important price levels, they don't hang out at them for too long. They either, usually it's just like even here. I mean, look at that. It was probably a matter of a couple hours.
Yeah.
So if we get up to there, it's like we're at a crossroads. And then if you're someone who trades options, you can think about a reversal. Or if you're on the long side, you just see if it breaks out. If it doesn't break out, then that would be a good place to sell.
Yeah. Crossroads, one of the greatest songs ever, by the way. Amazing guitar riff. Mark, I got one more for you, if that's okay. INOD, INOD. And I'm glad this is Canarp, right? Canarp, I'm glad that you brought this up. INOD, real quick here. INOD is a massive, massive, massive win from our happy hour group. Years ago, when we started our happy hour program, INOD was one of the stocks that one of the members had been doing some work on and research on. And there were a number of us that bought this in a 3 and 4 handle and ended up selling it in double digits, anywhere from like 11 to 20. It ended up going to 90. So this one here, this is a massive, massive winner, made for a lot of gains for our happy hour group. They do AI. Their biggest customers are customers like Google and Facebook. They basically do hate speech recognition utilizing AI in order to keep things clean. So it's a fairly interesting company, kind of a sleepy management team, but nonetheless, what do you think in the chart here?
Well, I'm thinking that this is up 50% in the pre-market. So, one of the things we'll want to do is look for maybe that potential mid-morning reversal. But yeah, I mean, if it keeps moving, I mean, obviously we want to look at the former peak, but I would just be really careful on this one, because if I owned it down here and it's up 50%, I would probably be thinking, all right, if this thing breaks back below here, that's probably where I would get stopped out, right? Under the
Yeah.
what was resistance might become support. So that's what I would be thinking if I was long, and then hopefully it'll run, and then my target price for a profit would be up here. So yeah, so that's the kind of the thing. Like if let's just say I was to buy it now because it's breaking this, and I look at the earnings and the stock mid-morning starts to trend higher, somewhere around 70. Well, my initial stop out to prevent disaster, remember, golf analogy, right? If you don't put the ball in the pond or the woods, if your bad shots are acceptable, you're going to end up with a decent score. And the analogy to trading is that if you don't have any blowups, then your numbers will end up being good. So you always want to think about, if I take this position, what's my initial prevent disaster exit plan? So that's where I would have my stop out, and then my target would be here. And then if it started going my direction, then that's where you start moving up your trailing stop underneath it.
Yeah,
But anyway, I do have to go.
All good, man. We really appreciate it, Mark. Do me a favor. Have a great weekend. Keep me posted on on the UFO stuff. I could talk about that all day and all night.
All right. Well, yeah. Hopefully, we won't be mining dilithium crystals in some far off mine in the universe next week. And if not, I will see you guys all next week.
All right, Mark. Sounds good. Take care of yourself. Have a great weekend. All right, good stuff from Mark Putrino. Don't forget, sign up for his Substack. He does a whole bunch of great content, and he comes in here and takes questions from you folks and shares it all with you. So pretty amazing from him. A couple of things I want to clean up here real quick. Matthew saying, I stopped using DraftKings when the state started grabbing 25 cents per bet. Ridiculous. Absolutely. In Illinois, they did that here on FanDuel. It was actually 50 cents. Interestingly enough, I don't know what happened, but when I traveled to Michigan for the quarterly meeting that I had to attend, I obviously bet in Michigan there, did not have to pay any fees. And then when I came back from Michigan, the bets I placed in Illinois no longer collected fees. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if they got rid of it. I don't know if it was some app error or something. No idea, but I'm with you on that, man. I'm not paying the state. It's absolutely ridiculous. And they're a fraud machine, especially in the state. So, all right. Next here, we are going to do street tweets. I got one for you, and then it's time for 13. All right. This is actually something that Mark just kind of talked about. This is courtesy of the Kobisi letter here. AI is driving U.S. economic growth. Investment in software and IT equipment contributed 134 basis points to Q1 2026 GDP growth of 2%. That is the largest quarterly contribution in history. This means that 67% of last quarter's economic growth was driven by AI. To put it differently, without this AI-driven tech investment, Q1 GDP growth would have actually been close to flat. This contribution also exceeds the 1999 record by about 10 basis points. How about that? Over the last 5 quarters, investment in software and IT equipment contributed 90 basis points on average per quarter, the most of any 5-quarter period on record. The U.S. economy has become highly reliant on AI. So this is another reason why when we talk about, will these IPOs be a catalyst for some of the stocks or for some of the investors selling out of some of these stalwart AI winners? What does that spell for the broader market? Like, is that enough to kind of kick up a fear and a big time pullback? Well, AI doing all of the heavy lifting for our GDP as of late. All right, let's go ahead and get back to pro and start our pre-market pulse with Mr. 13. There he is, 13. Good morning. How you doing, boss?
I'm doing just fine. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, everybody in the chat. How are you?
We're doing good. We're doing good. We had a nice little discussion about aliens and UFOs already. We've looked at charts already. We've gone through news already. 13, we've got a full day here.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you guys are having fun with UFOs. I prefer the more human-made spacecraft. We actually had a static test fire with the booster rocket for SpaceX yesterday. That was going on toward the end of the show here yesterday. So that was a little fun thing to watch afterwards. Spectacular. I'm gassed up for this launch, this flight 12.
Okay. I love it. I love when 13 is excited. Where do you want to start with here today? Or what do you want to start with, I guess I should say? Well, should we start with Axon?
Sure, we can.
Since you basically talked about that being a potential trade here, I'll talk about AMD, which set up for us. Let's start with these two big boys, and then we'll go over to the movers.
Sure. Did you want me to start with?
Yeah, Axon. We'll do Axon first. We'll do your stock first. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, Axon. The whole idea with this one was, off the funding of the Department of Homeland Security, which we had a bill passed and signed last week. That was right before we had earnings for GEO and this company, 2 names that our group's been keeping an eye on for if that bill, when that bill passes. So when it did, we got GEO's earnings earlier this week, and they reported great earnings, new contracts. They went over like 25%, I believe, the day after. So that worked out really well. Axon, of course, they make the body cams and tasers, and they also have an evidence cloud, which is one of the things we talked about yesterday that was getting new contracts. So with the DHS funding, those two names should be turning around. It looks like they've started to. And Axon just was a real great idea that we've been talking a lot about in the happy hour. And we managed to recapture the 20-day in the process. We're trying to climb over the 50-day now.
Pop off the bottom, 10% move one day, 50-day up next here, 13, giddy up. That was a good call. We could keep checking in on this one as well.
And then JP Morgan comes out hot and says, you know what? We like this stock. We think it's worth $755. Citizens maintains the market outperformed, lowers their price target to 700, which is still well above where we're at now. But UBS think it's not worth too much more from here. But still, I think there's going to be some more upside in this name. And it's all on that DHS funding.
Okay, good stuff. Now, AMD, this is another stock, and we talked about this yesterday, and I told you guys about my favorite potential trade setup here called the floating island. And guess what, folks? AMD set up for this yesterday. It pulled all the way back and held the 400 to 402 area that we looked at, or that we were looking for. It ended up trading back up a little bit. It is up 1.81% here today. This is what the intraday chart looks like. My expectation and hope is that this trades up towards 430. 430, your first trim zone there, a break above, and it's a blue sky breakout. Let your winner run on AMD. So floating island so far here has been set up. Based on your own risk parameters, the stop would actually be under the bottom of this candle. So it really depends on where you bought on this and what your own personal risk profile is. You can't listen to anybody else. You got to figure that out yourself. But this would be your stop. Otherwise, we're hoping that it moves up towards the top and then breaks and goes. So AMD, floating island setup, giddy up. We are on the way. Lion here saying, does anyone have an account with Coinbase? Yes, I do. I do. But I'm not testing any of your wacky conspiracy theories for you. I'm sorry, my man.
AMD, since they had earnings, they've also had a whole slew of price targets come out. Some as low as 385, but also as high as I think it was. What did I see? 525. I was going to say 550, but 525 is what some analysts are calling for. So it looks like we're going to be getting some more upside here if those price targets are going to be realized.
Okay. All right, let's hit these movers and see what we got on deck for us here today. First one, well, I guess I should ask you, what do you have on the list? We can start with those.
The two that I looked at the most today were PHOE, PHOE, and AIIO. I also took a look at INOD, but I didn't spend much time on it because I know about this one.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, we'll start here with PHOE. This is PHOE. This is Phoenix Asia Holdings. Looks like this stock popped big intraday on Tuesday, May 5th. There were definitely halts in there based on that chart action. And then it looks like it popped here again this morning on much, much higher volume. This pop took us to 50. We've bled back a lot of those gains. And now we've actually stayed under the VWAP. So needing to get ahead of the VWAP is going to be whatever is next here. Let's take a look at this. I don't see any news from this.
It's old news that it's going on.
Old news that it's going on. Perfect. I'm sure you'll recap that. Taking a look here at the short interest, it literally is nothing. There is 3,410 shares held short in this stock. That is absolutely nothing. That can be covered up in a second. Float on this is 5.5 million. On average, it trades 45,000 shares, almost 800K here today. 13, what's the deal with PHOE?
That move you saw earlier in the week on Tuesday was from the result of a Phoenix Asia entering into a stock acquisition agreement to acquire ACEA Pharma for $1 billion. That carried over. It was announced on Monday after hours. It carried over into Tuesday, and there's been no real news since then. So I think we're just seeing another push from this because, like you said, there's no other news. I think it's just going on this. Something to keep in mind, though, this company, PHOE, when they acquire ACEA Pharma, they're going to have to, the part of the agreement, it means that they're going to, indicates that they're going to have to issue 100 million shares, and they plan to do that at $10 a share. So there is going to be dilution in order to make this deal happen. You could read this yourself in the PR, any of the PRs regarding this acquisition. That's what the plan is. Because PHOE does not have the cash to take this company over. They need to issue shares. They need to raise capital. They do have some revenue, but that's nowhere near enough in order to make the $1 billion agreement to go through. Otherwise, they have 5.5 million shares, which is about to be diluted. And that is what I've got for PHOE. I think it did have some targets here on the chart. Let me just look real quick. I think it really was just if we're going to see any upside, it's going to be a recapture of VWAP. It's currently getting support from the 65 EMA. This is one that if you're going to try trading this one, make sure you're done with it when your trade is over, because I don't know when that share issuance is coming, but it's coming.
Okay. All right. Really good breakdown there. PHOE. I'm going to avoid this one, I think, here today. All right, next is going to be INOD, and we actually just took a look at this one with Mark. 13, I was just saying, Will, I was with Mark before you got on here, that this was an amazing win from our happy hour program that we run. This was from the very, very early days. We had multiple people that were buying this in $3, $4, $5 handles. It very quickly went to double digits, and then obviously, if you're a little bit more patient, thing went to 90. Now, in a data yesterday, this closed at about 45.64, and then in the after hours, they reported earnings that were better than expected and Q1 financial results, and then issued fiscal year 26 sales guidance above estimates. Look at the move here on INOD. We had the impulse move that basically took us to 62. We pulled back a little bit, and we have a staircase higher today on higher volume. Now let's take a quick peek at everything here. Short interest on this name, 17.29%, 5.36 days to cover. That could absolutely have some type of squeeze action in here. The EPS, or the earnings themselves, this was a healthy beat. EPS of 42 cent beat the 17 cent estimate, and sales of 90 million beat the 76.5 million estimate. Man, and what is this? And I know the stock's not very cheap. 1.5 billion market cap versus only 72 million in sales. I guess here from the most recent print. What do we have there? Sales 90 million. Okay, so it's up a little bit. Huge reaction here. Stock's up 55%. What say you on INOD 13?
This one I don't think I'll ever forget, because this one I spent a good amount of time looking at. And one of the things that we had discussed about when we could actually see this really take off was when they posted their the first quarter, where they showed that they had more than 30 million in revenue. That actually happened in their August 2024 report, and that's when I think we started to see this really get going. So that was a phenomenal move thereafter. Now we're seeing this company, put upwards of close to 100 million a quarter. So they've really grown. Wish I had not sold out of this, but it was still a great trade, so I can't be upset. The EPS, they're just insanely profitable right now, and they expect more revenue. I would say that with the sentiment and how well this company's executing, I could see this thing climbing up to as high as 80 maybe today. But I could also see this selling off as we approach that level, or seeing selling pressure as we approach that level, because it is also extended up here.
All-time high 93.85, just to give you an idea there on INOD.
The more you look to the left, the more you see that there's a bit of a trend line that could indicate where the next all-time high is going to end up topping out at.
Over 100, that would be.
Over 100. That's all you need to know.
I was going to say, I will just add this now. We'll see what happens. I think you wanted something like this, probably.
Do both. Just do both.
Yeah, I'm just going to do this one, actually. I'm going to take that recent high. Here we go. We're going to cut that one head off, but here, this looks pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll see if that gives us a target. What do I have up there if we keep moving here? Yeah, 120. So, good Lord. Good Lord. Okay. What else did you have on your list?
AIIO.
AIIO. Okay. IRE. This is the Defiance 2x long IREN. So if you're trading IREN, this basically just gives you 2x movement on that. I don't really think there's much to cover here. Akamai, this is one that we occasionally talk about in happy hour. They reported earnings. Akamai shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q1 financial results and raised its fiscal year 26 sales guidance. This is actually doing a pretty good job holding higher here. Very much like, I think it was the AVTX, whatever stock that was that we had a pre-market setup on. We were waiting for it to break out or break down and ended up breaking down, back testing the channel, and then rolling lower. It was a really good short setup. We're going to do the same thing here on Akamai. All right, so I've got 142.20 on the bottom, 151.23 on the top side. Let's see if it breaks out or breaks down. If it gives us a back test of the range, that's great. That's our entry trigger for a potential trade. Did you have anything on Akamai? It's okay if you don't. Did he just reported earnings?
No. No, but I do like that range. That would be the range I'd want to see the price stay in and break out of to the upside, but starting to look a little weak there.
Okay.
Let me look at this on my chart and see if I see anything differently. But
okay.
Yeah, that looks like we could be seeing some downward pressure here. If we can recapture VWAP, maybe it'll trade back up. But I think that's the big thing to be watching for right now is recapturing that VWAP.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there on Akamai. There are a couple of more that I want to mention. You said it was AIIO that you had?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll get to that here. AAOI is all I see. So I don't see it on here, but we'll get to it here in a sec. I just wanted to mention two more real quick. First one here is TRA. Brent is just absolutely popping off about this stock here this morning. So it might as well just very quickly cover. This is Traws Pharma. Traws Pharma shares are trading higher after the company plans to advance a potential clinical candidates in the treatment of hantavirus infections. So this now moving on some of the but I guess I'll just be polite and call it the talk that we're hearing here about hantavirus. This thing did pop up towards 260. Sure looks like 250 was the resistance area. Rolled over. It's coughed up the VWAP. But we'll see. You like that? We'll see if it is able to recapture that. Quick peek here at the short interest. 6.12% of the float is shorted. 2.05 days to cover. On average, the stock trades 158,000 shares. It's traded 39 million here today, and the float is 6.6 million. Do you have anything here on TRA at all?
Just a very noticeable insider buy from late last month after they had earnings. I didn't look at this one, but I'm kind of wondering if we'll maybe see a couple more or several more of these that are trying to treat the hantavirus infections. But, I don't think this is going to be like how it was with COVID, where, as soon as you mentioned that you were involved in trying to treat it or have a vaccine for it, your stock would run. I don't think we're going to necessarily see that with the hantavirus. So it might be limited with these.
I completely agree with you. I think that this little catalyst thing, I guess we'll call it here, it's going to be very, very short-lived. I would expect each, concurrent pop here on other PRs about it to be weak.
It's a viral infection that's that's only transmitted through contact with basically rodents or where they've been, and unless the virus mutates to be transmissible between humans through like cough or touch, then. Unless that happens, then I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of the hantavirus get out of control.
Yeah, that's not to mention that the world is not going to tolerate shutting down the world for a cold ever again, as well. All right, the other thing or the other stock I wanted to mention here was this is one from yesterday, right? This is FLNC. We talked about this one yesterday. It's had a nice pop, gave us a really nice resistance. We actually had a nice little triangle on this as well. This gave a trade yesterday, but looks like we're popping again here today. So let's see. Congrats if anyone held this overnight, but FLNC looks like we're gearing up again here. 24 is the resistance. 24 is the resistance here today. Did you have anything on this one? I know we just talked about it yesterday. It's okay if you don't.
I think I would keep an eye on 25 as well, because you had a little gap back from February when this was coming down pretty hard. There's a little gap in there that might, be somewhat magnetic. So if we climb up towards 25, I think we could go a little bit higher and fill that gap. That would be, something I'd be watching for here. But, like with so many others, this is pretty extended. That move yesterday that took it through all the SMAs on the daily chart, big move. It went through 4 of them, and it broke through a trend line. So, and we held. So I could see this maybe trying to climb higher, but there's also a possibility of this coming back in and filling the gap that we're about to create today.
Okay. Okay. Now let's get to the one that you had. AIIO, huh?
Yeah, this was over $1 when I looked at it, and
Robo AI. Okay.
This it was just kind of.
I'm just gonna let you cover this one and step away. I'll be right back.
Okay. This one had a lot of volume in the morning here, because what's going on with this is that they're acquiring a company called Neurovia. And the way that they're going to be doing this, because they don't have the cash available, they're going to be issuing a lot of Class B shares, which is what you're looking at here with this company. The company does lose a lot of money, but this is meant to help power their next gen AI data infrastructure. So that's the news with this one. Let me go here to the chart and give you the levels that I was looking at. So we're currently in a little bit of an uptrend. We pulled back from being above $1, trying to get back into that dollar territory. And if we do recapture that, I would keep an eye out on this trend line that we've got from the highs. That's from the after hours high yesterday and the pre-market high to 108 this morning. If we manage to hold above VWAP, where we're at now, and get back over $1, I could see us taking this trend line out, and that would mean we go higher currently than 110, 115. So something I'd be watching for here, but just keep in mind they do have to issue more shares in order to pay for this acquisition. The company has 14.9 million shares in the float, and that is likely to be diluted very soon. All right, so you want Mask is popping again?
Don't worry, I'm back.
Okay, no problem. So just real quick, Ryan, this one is also acquiring a company, and it's going to have to issue shares in order to pay for it.
Okay, perfect. So that's good warning there. Mask is what I heard as soon as I put the things back. Okay, so here's Mask up 13.29%. Nice little pop here with 13. Look at this.
Yeah, this looks like it's about ready. I mean, this price action just in this morning looks like it wants to push higher, back up over 3.
Did we have news on this today?
I don't know. I'm just looking at the chart right now.
We did. 3E Network Technologies announces a proactive capital raising strategy to fund its new semiconductor and compute infrastructure blueprint, including a 1.3 million convertible note agreement with an institutional investor. So this is a Hong Kong stock trying to become a semiconductor and compute stock. I don't think 1.3 million is going to do it. 13.
Unless they're just trying to pay themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. 5.5% of the float is shorted, 1 day to cover. On average, the stock trades 3.5 million. It's done 4.5 million today. It is low float, under $1 million here. So MASK, we've talked about this before. We've actually seen this move before. It does a lot of pops and drops, so be careful. Here's a trend line. Actually, I see a bottom side trend line on this as well.
It's been trying to get over this 280s area for the past. It seems like the past few days. And the more you look at a longer term chart, like let's say you go to a daily chart, you can see that it's been trying to get back above that area since March when we lost it. So that's why you're seeing all this price action, up here at in the 280s, trying to push higher and get rejected. If we do manage to get through this, you have the 65 EMA on the daily up at 332. That might be the next area of resistance.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. Can we suggest levels for IREN? How about it, 13? What do you think about that? IREN?
Let's do it.
Okay. It sounded like he was thinking there pretty good. I like that, 13. So just to kind of recap what I said about IREN earlier, it's actually a pretty constructive looking chart here. We did break the downtrend that originated at the end of 2025. We're now pushing back to a resistance area. So this is a previous consolidation and resistance area. I do expect some resistance here, but boy, oh boy, if we break this, I think that opens the path to 76 and change here. 13, what do you think on this chart?
Yeah, we're past that high from January.
Mm-hmm. It's just the same area. I'm still, I'm thinking about it as more of an area.
Yeah, I look at this break through the trend line there. It looks like it was its second attempt. So I don't know if we could consider that moving beneath it briefly and catching support from the 20 to be, the back test or not. But if it is, then this, we're hitting the levels on our way back up. And I would expect some back and forth as we hit these previous highs. So maybe there is going to be some selling that tries to take it back down towards 60. But if we hold 60, then next week we're probably going to end up seeing this try and push higher. It's not overbought just yet, but we're getting pretty close to it.
Yeah.
So if we do manage to push higher into the 60s, like over 65 or more today, I think I would expect there to be some selling pressure as we approach 70. If not today, then maybe next week.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. And then you guys, so Shazaz was asking for levels there. Just gave you a couple there. G-Man also giving in some levels here. I have a strong level up to 74.26. That was the all-time high from December. That's what he's talking about, I think, right in here, right? All-time high from December. No, it was November. I also see the top of this candle being right at that 74.26-ish area.
Yeah, I got 76.87 as the all-time high in iron.
Yeah,
that's from November.
76.87. I got the exact same.
So what I was saying is, like, I could see this trying to push higher up towards 70, but I think we'll see some selling pressure as we approach 70, and it looks like we really should come back in the test. I would say maybe even as low as 50 if we get that rejection up towards that 70 area between 65 and 70. So I think up here we're going to see some potential selling pressure. That's just my opinion, though.
Okay, Lion here has a similar opinion. IREN needs to crash. They have awful earnings. I'm not going to misread awful there because that would cause me to curse on air, and I'm not trying to do that. But Lion thinks they need a pullback here. Frozen King giving you a support level of 58 and a resistance level of 68. Free Diddy tomorrow. Thank you. Definitely hit the like. We really appreciate the support. Also, I know everyone's waiting for these UFO files. Okay, we've got less than a minute here, folks. Let me flip over to the main workspace. Good luck today. It is Friday. Let's have a great one.
44, Lion. So he's looking for a move back down to the 50 and 200 day SMAs. I don't think that's unreasonable. I think you'll still get some pretty good support around 50, but I can see it coming down there to those as well. INOT is just not waiting. It's you know what? This bell is taking too long. 30 seconds. Bye. Let's go. This thing's already taken off right now.
It loves to move like that. That's something that we have seen before.
Yep. Just be careful.
Yeah, Big Hurt, we're going to miss you, man. We are definitely going to miss you. We hope you can make it here at some point.
Well, yeah. Well, we'll never forget you, man. Until that shift changes, we'll never forget
I told them we'd keep the seat warm for them.
Yep.
So.
There we are.
There we go.
All right. What is giving us trade out of the gate here? IREN lower, ACAM lower, INOD just blasted off, trying to hit that 80 mark. It's up to 77.43. That's the current high. But man, this thing is whipping all around. Be careful with this. It's very spready. AIIO leaking out of the open there. Mask not doing anything just yet. I get the sense that this wants to try and push up through the VWAP, but not seeing that happen just yet.
That was Mask that you said, right?
Yeah.
FLNC 25, that ripped right out of the open.
And INOD is up to 78.69. Still was going to probably push a little bit higher, but I think 80 is going to be the potential spot.
Was a push right out of the open there.
Yeah. IREN, it dropped a little bit, came down to some support in the pre-market, almost to the 65 EMA, and it's turning around and trying to shoot past the 66.37 high.
Traw, maybe this is curling. Lion seems to be on Mask.
And we just moved right through 80 on INOD. 81 coming. PHOE, P-H-O-E, that popped up over VWAP, and now it's been smacked right down.
Coinbase, that's moving lower out of the open. We'll see if that holds the after hours lows.
Looks like ACAM is recovering.
That's Akamai, right? AKAM.
Yep. FLNC, this one took off right out of the gate. It started moving up in the, just before the bell. And we opened and hit 25.60.
And here's your AIIO. That pulled back and lost $1 there. AEHL, someone asked about this earlier. AEHL, this was a penny stock, went to dollar territory, actually looking like it's going to pop here. I'm sorry I didn't get to this earlier, whoever asked about it, but here's AEHL. Akamai continuing to drop. Let's go back to that, AKAM. All right, so let's see if we get a back test of this range. Let me add the lines here. There we go. There we go. All right, let's see what we get here on Akamai.
Did Tesla go to 420 and turn around? That's hilarious.
420.30 is your high here. It is right at 420 at Tesla. I can't believe that's like a thing and a joke.
You got to understand the CEO. He loves memes.
Oh, well, I guess maybe I would say I understand him as best I can. Maybe I don't want to go too far on that one.
I'm not asking you to live in his head. You just got to understand that he likes memes.
Thank you.
All right. Mask trying to come back up to 3, hitting 3 now, trying to chew through some. Man, here we go. Somebody stop me.
I love it. Here, Rocket Lab going to 90. That's a great Mask quote right there. Rocket Lab testing 90 here.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, hopefully I'll get my 110 target soon. Oh, this is a nice looking daily chart. Tried to get up to 100 back in January. Spent some time cooling off. Made another attempt last month. Came back in. I bet this next visit up here in the mid 90s might feature a little bit more upside. Get the sense that that's possible.
Mask here through the pre-market highs. Mask.
All right, let's see here.
How's TTD doing?
Now, so you have a 5-minute chart on for Mask. I'm seeing a little bit of a trend here from some previous price action. If you take the high from yesterday's pre-market, you could even go back to yesterday's to the 2 days ago Wednesday's open and use that high as well. But there's a pretty clear trend here with those highs over the past several days. We're coming right up to it right now.
Okay, so I think so.
Yeah, do you see that?
I think this, and this, right? Like you're excluding the pre-market one, or
from Wednesday and yesterday's pre-market. So Wednesday's open.
Got it. So you're starting there at Wednesday. Okay. I got you.
Wednesday's open through yesterday's pre-market. Yeah.
Oh, look at that, dude. It's right there.
It's right there. It's right there.
Oh, good golly.
Now Rocket Lab just pushed over 90, hitting a 90.88. That's good to see. What else is giving us some good moves here? I like how INOD that went up to 81.71 and it backed off just under 80. But it's still holding up here. Let's see if it can give us a little bit more. But this just hit my expectations for today. So if you get more, great. But I don't think there's going to be a whole lot more upside here because I think it's kind of extended now.
Is there any level that you'd be interested in re-adding this? Like if this comes back into 73 or 74, would you consider a bounce play?
maybe in the 70. I actually think I would be more comfortable in the 60s.
Okay.
There's a big gap between what we closed at yesterday
No
and
doubt.
what we open at today. So I don't know that I'd necessarily be a buyer up here, even if it did pull back. So that's just me though. I haven't looked at this in a while. So there might be a lot more going with this company than I understand.
AMD 427. This is straight up out of the gate. First trim level 430. We're only 250 away overnight. AMD.
Fantastic.
Floating island. Get wrecked. Let's go.
And then speaking of get wrecked, PHOE said, you know what? We're just going to go higher before we make that offering. And it's halted to the upside right now. And since that's now halted, AIIO is getting some attention. It went down beneath its VWAP and found support at the 65 EMA. Currently turning around, recapturing some levels.
And TRA, this is the one that Big Hurt was on earlier. This finally had the strength to break out of that pre-market sideways formation. Testing VWAP here, 223. Here's your AIIO, 13.
There it is. Trying to get back above $1. Still having a hard time.
Yeah, Eric, the earnings for INOD was really good. And this is not the first time that we've seen INOD make it a gigantic move after a quality earnings like that.
Yep. FLNC, this one printed slightly higher, 26.59. Currently selling and getting some support from the VWAP. We'll see if that holds or not.
FLNC, nice push to 26 there, and then a slowdown. Or a break, I guess we should call it. West is getting mentioned again by the chat. Let's go ahead and take a look here at West. West Rock Coffee Company. Boy, this is a big move out of the gate. What happened here on this one? Beg your pardon, because we didn't go over this one. Billy, welcome back. It's good to see you. I was wondering where you were at. Okay, so yesterday after hours, this reported earnings. In line, they missed the EPS a little bit there by 2 cents, but the sales were better, and they better than expected Q1 sales results. That's what's driving this here, 42%. I'm not familiar with this as a coffee company. I just don't know about it. That's all I'm saying. I don't doubt it. I just don't know about it.
There may be. I think this is a short squeeze. West. You got the high short interest with 21 days to cover. So I think we might see a squeeze here.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Yep.
So if this continues, maybe we see this print 9 and then it could start to back off. I don't want to, say that that's actually what's going to happen. It is really extended up here, but I think we could see a potential 9 print before we reverse. It should be noted, though, that next week we'll have had a golden cross on the daily chart. So even if we do pull back, we may see some support, maybe around the $6 or $7 handles, somewhere around there.
Okay. We'll see what we get, folks. AMD, there it goes, right through 430. Boom, first target reached on AMD. Blue sky breakout now, trim and trail on this.
Yeah, INOD is just continuing to rip. We're looking at 85 soon here. I don't have 92.19 as the all-time high for Rocket Lab. The all-time high I have for that.
Yo, Nikhil, in and out of INOD 10%. Bang. Whew. Well, we are having a Friday morning here. Let's effing go.
I think I had something like 99. 99.58 is the all-time high for Rocket Lab. That was put on January 16th, also a Friday.
Wyatt here saying regarding West, as long as they're not a bad company like that coffee company in China, I think it's called Luckin Coffee. It was absolutely Luckin Coffee. I don't think it's like that. But that just brings back memories.
I'll never forget that day.
That was wild times, folks.
I was hilarious. Oh man. Kind of like how this price action we're seeing here today is pretty hilarious. Rocket Lab is just continuing to go higher.
INOD 85's more highs now for INOD. That thing's up 87%. Oh my god!
And Jay, I guess it's a lot of software, but not all. Because look at INOD. This thing's just continuing. Mask starting to look like it's kind of topping out a little bit here. We'll know after this candle, I think, if we're getting weak or not. We are above the VWAP.
Dude, that went right to the trend line.
Right?
It literally like tapped it to the penny. That's
almost like algos are seeing the same thing we are.
Oh, AMD back above 430, by the way.
Iron really starting to get weak here. Coming down to some of these support levels from the after hours yesterday. I've got
Lion says, I'm an old timer and I have to bring history back. I can appreciate that line. I'm sorry, 13. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just having too much fun today.
Faux's halted right now. I think this is still the first halt. We should see an unhalt here pretty soon.
I have it halted at 936.01.
Okay, so that's a little bit late for an unhalt then. I guess maybe a 10-minute is what's happening?
I would think so, because we're over the time, no?
Yeah.
Yes, Joe, the AMD island that I outlined for the last 2 days, frankly. Yes, target 1 reached. Rest is just trim and trail.
Right. Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying, Jay. There's like some names here and there, but yeah, the big boys are getting hit pretty hard. And then I'm just looking at iNod and be like, well, it's not all software names, but it is a lot of them.
So CJ Strategies, what am I missing in Wolf? This thing continues to move up. I don't follow Wolf.
Is that with the U or O?
Oh, and this is Wolf Speed. I think wasn't there a few people in here that liked this stock or talked about this?
I'm sure I've seen this before. A semiconductor name? Okay, so it's going with all the other hardware. Silicon carbide.
This is another big time move here.
Okay, so this is probably one of those data center plays because they make power electronics applications. It's I'm sorry, I don't have a great explanation, but it seems like this is one that is involved in powering server. I have to do some more work on this. I don't want to say something incorrect, but it looks like this is one of the companies that's involved in this power management. But let me look into this some more.
Yeah, this is the power modules used in the electronics application.
Okay.
The company also provides reference designs, evaluation kits, and gate driver boards to support the development and integration of its products across industries such as electric vehicles, renewable energy, and industrial systems. This absolutely has a data center angle to it.
It's kind of like a thing between the thing almost.
Yeah.
Mask now starting to get weak, so those upper shadows are starting to indicate that we're getting weak here. Coming down to VWAP, we'll see if we get support. If not there, it's probably going to be somewhere in the 290s.
Bro, iNod 88.24. The stock is up 93%. Was not on iNod here today, but what a move.
Iron really sank. Rocket Lab still trying to reach the outer atmosphere.
Iron back to where it gave up everything from yesterday. Morning, Ryan. Morning to anyone I might have missed, too. S&P curling up. I have remember, the high print on the SPY from the pre-market post, the jobs number was 736.57. And I have the high on the S&P futures at 74.12.5.
I mean, iNod's probably going to print a new all-time high here if this keeps up.
Yeah. I wonder if that will be the reversal area for iNod. Looks like Ryan's looking for some puts near that all-time high.
I was just thinking this is going to be a good short at some point. I was just thinking that.
Tesla went through the 420 mean level.
Nice.
Apple looking like it might try 300, 294, new high intraday on Apple. Bitcoin, by the way, just coughed up 80K on the futures.
Mask getting some support from VWAP. RXT, Rackspace going for yesterday's high. Let's take a look.
That's RXT. Okay.
Yep. Looks like we got pretty close to hitting it already. Let me see here. Yesterday was 462. We hit 459. So just a few cents away already this morning. Still very extended here, but just like AMD, if this holds, I would say if this holds the 350 area, we might have a floating on with this one too. But we gotta hold that for a couple more days. I would say. Micron is through 700. It's NVIDIA 2.0. INOD finally starting to show some selling. 90.78 is the high. As is Rocket Lab, 94.11 on that one. Faux finally open again. This thing popped up to 49.45. And finally, and now it's completely filling the gap down.
Hang on, I think I got to sneeze. Excuse me, sorry about that. Akamai, great call here, Trey. I took my eyes off it. Akamai broke the bottom of our support, traded back. Now, it did trade back to VWAP-ish, but then rolled over again. So I'm actually not in this one short, but the short setup did work, Trey. Good call out.
Mask,
keeps crashing and injuring more people. That's not funny, Lion, but your comment is funny. People getting injured is not actually funny. I'm sorry for laughing at that, but lol, it's a good joke. What was that, 13? I'm sorry.
Mask back over the VWAP. It looks like it's trying to push up through the recent highs we made in this session. 325 is the current high. Were we talking on Tuesday about retail buying NVIDIA 200 calls heavily?
Yes. There were, yes, Chris, you are remembering correctly. Earlier this week, there was heavy call buying in NVIDIA that was short term for the 200, and I believe it was also the 205 and a halves. Let me check that and make sure I'm getting that right.
Lots of these runners this morning starting to pull here a little bit.
Yeah, and Chris, it also looks like that went up to 215, but I don't know if we saw those earlier this week. I remember what you were talking about.
AEHL halted, says Dream Chaser. Let me take a look at that.
Any thoughts on Ondas? Yeah, pull back here ahead of earnings, just kind of waiting it out. I am going to be long here for earnings. I actually am going to try. I'm bidding more of the September 18 calls just to kind of add to that position since it's under the cost basis. But nothing has changed here fundamentally. Ondas just pulling back.
Yeah, so AHL, this is an old one. I have my levels from when we traded this previously, like in back in last year and maybe even the year before. But we are very well below those levels right now. If this does pop up here, I think the level I don't know if we're even going to get there, but I'd be keeping an eye on potentially 250 as a big resistance area, and we're like almost $1.50 away from there. So I don't even know if we'll get up that high. I would say for now, maybe 135 could be resistance. Go away shorts and mask. Oh, wow. It is trying to push up there. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just wondering what you were asking about. Is it mask?
Well, I was just reading what Big Hurt was saying. Go away shorts and mask. And yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were reading a comment. My bad.
It's all right. It's okay.
I'm just trying to follow along, dude. That's all.
We're still holding that VWAP. But volume's not looking great. If we get some volume extension, I think we could push beyond the session highs of 325.
Shazaz asking, can you guys suggest buys for swing trade ideas? We're not here to advise you. We basically just take a look at the news flow, the price action. We tell you what we're doing. We try to get the group to generate ideas, but no, we cannot tell you what to trade. Nothing's changed. AMD 433.5. Trey says this might be time for it to slow down here. At least we got target one, Trey. At least we got target one. MU is cracking. Mention from Reggie. Good morning, Reggie.
Here we go. Finally, we're getting our move with Mask now. See if it can take us up through that trend line. Just like that.
I'm going for 700.
Just like that. See that big hurt? You got that, right? You got that. I know you did.
He says, yes, sir.
Yep.
That means registering. Bang, bang, bang. Great job, 13.
Thank you. And it looks like we got resistance up at 339. Certainly there was a guy hanging out up there, a big seller. If we get enough volume, we'll push right through him. Otherwise, that might be where the current resistance is. So let's see what happens up here. We're right at him right now. SYNA, decent short interest in it compared to other semis, new 52-week high. Take a look at that. SYNA. Synaptics Incorporated. Jeez, this thing has been on a run since the end of March. And it looks like we're coming up to a little bit of, we're kind of entering some resistance here. What are you looking at here, Jay? Maybe like 120, 125 potential resistance in this one. We're getting a little extended. That's kind of what I'm seeing here on a daily chart. But, you know, with the high short interest, maybe it pushes past those areas. 21.6% of the float shorted, 7.87 days to cover. It's in those parameters. Mask wants to go to 350. It's got to get through the seller at 339. They're hitting them, so maybe. And if we do,
it's only 11 cents away. I mean,
and well, if they do get through him, I do see a smaller seller at 349, but it looks like we could even get through that and hit the next seller up at 359. But we got to get through this 339 seller first.
Buffalo by Bicycle out Tesla 19% in a month-long swing. Bob wants to vomit. Oh, man, I'm sorry you're having a rough Friday, Bob.
It is. Well, it was halted a second ago there, Billy. AHL just unhalted. We popped up to 123. A little bit of a gap up there. We may fill this gap after this pop up here. So, God, a lot of sellers above this level too. So, be careful. We'll see if we can choose this 120 seller. That looks like the largest seller in front of price action right now. AHL opened at 120. It looks like it opened closer to 115 and popped up to 123. That's what I got here on my chart. It looks like we're getting some pressure to fill this gap to the downside here. That's going to fill at about 107, looks like. Iron turning around. Hit a low of 58.92, trying to come back up and recapture the 200 EMA on the 5-minute.
DRAM at the highs. That's your memory ETF.
All right, and it looks like AEHL is filling that gap a little bit here. Haven't quite completely filled it. Pretty close. And it looks like
Lance, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, if it does get this gap fill, that could be support. If not there, maybe the 9 EMA or the VWAP. It looks like it is trying to get some buyers to step in here, but that's what I'm looking at here with AEHL right now. Sorry, go ahead.
Lance saying, Ryan, what are your calls on Ondas Sept 18th? What price target? Just curious what strike price you picked. It is the September Expiry, the 18 calls. That's the strike. I picked them just because they were cheap, and I figured that we were going to get probably a good earnings report. That's what I'm hoping for, fingers crossed, and then maybe a move higher through the summer. So I'm hoping that by the fall, a lot of like the market weakness is kind of gone. So that's it. They were cheap. If they go to zero, it's not going to be the end of the world because I'm using profits from the on-dust trade in order to buy that. Instead of, I have shares left, but I want to keep the shares long term. So I'm trying to trade around my core using options. And I felt like just trying to swing out to September was what I was looking for there. That did have good liquidity in that strike and expiry too. So that means I'm going to be able to close it if it starts moving. But obviously that's not working. We'll see how Ondas does after it reports earnings. And let me know if I answered your question there, Lance.
PHOE's halted the downside now. This is given everything back from the open. It may even end up going lower out of the halt.
Buzz Lightyear intra. That was the one that Brent was on here. Let me see if I can find it. I don't see it on the scanner there at first glance. So breakup of the trend line, fighting resistance at 230, decision at 250 if it's reached. So you're looking for a break of this high right here and then a move to 250. That's spot one, Buzz. That makes sense based on the chart. It actually does look like this is trying to break 230 right here. I see a seller on the tape at that level.
I don't know why Chewy's been having such a tough go, but I think it may be over a settlement deal that was, that has a June 23rd hearing date on the settlement. So I think that might be what's weighing on it. I don't know otherwise. It's come down to, we may see a triple bottom here, which would be, fantastic if we get support down here. Don't want to really see it go a whole lot lower, but I do have a position in this because I have a long-term prospect on this going higher. It just might take, years for it to do that.
Chris mentioning that Tesla is still making highs and also seeing call buying on the back of this real kind of a power move up here. Remember, this was one impulse move, a pause, and then another impulse move.
DXYZ getting mentioned here by G-Man. This thing really extended, but I think this is getting a lot of excitement over the upcoming Starship launch. And yesterday we just had a static test fire that was spectacular, and it looks like it was successful. So the next step is going to be that launch, which currently has a flight window or a launch window of May 12th to the 18th. So should hopefully be sometime in there.
By the way, Axon pulling back. So this is retracing that move there from yesterday. Very, very short-lived, but pulling back here on Axon. Wouldn't want this to lose 380.
And as Jay pointed out, software is having a rough day. And this is in software. Coming back down to the 20-day SMA, getting some support from there right now. It'd be great if we hold that level. But I think we need to get back above 210, 215. I'm sorry, 410, 415.
Ondas bouncing, Velo bouncing. How's the IWM doing? Part of me wonders, because some of these small caps were getting hit, some of these small caps that didn't really have news. I guess there's been a lot of talk about, rates being raised instead of cut. And I'm wondering if that's affecting some of these smaller names here. I don't know why I can't pull up IWM.
INOD trying to push higher. Volume's much lower now, but it's got a pretty good setup. If we just get that volume component, we could see a move beyond 90.78. AEHL also kind of with the similar setup. As long as that holds above, I would say that 107 area, we could see this move back up. But we did get that support we were looking for in AEHL after we moved back beneath or filled that gap. That's one of the things we were just watching for here. So we'll see if we can get enough volume to move us back up higher from here.
I'm going to refresh my platform here. It looks like TRA tried to make a run back at 230 again.
Rocket Lab, new highs.
Mark saying any trades on FLNC. Mark, I'm not trading that here today. I did scalp it yesterday, but don't have it. Haven't traded it here today.
Well,
SPY keeps pushing higher. New all-time high, 736.89. Your new high, all-time high print.
I would say that FLNC looks like it has a higher likelihood of maybe coming back in than going a whole lot higher. Just the way that the daily candle for today looks like it could be a little bit of a reversal, but we still have a whole day ahead of us, and I don't want to judge it by the first half hour of this market trading.
TTD, this had a nice little kind of a dead cat bounce out of the open, pulled back to the 9 EMA, and so far is trying to hold it here. Let me see what I've got VWAP at for you. I've got VWAP at 2142, so this is staying above VWAP so far.
I know it's still trying to push back up into the 90s. This needs more volume.
Tesla still pushing 429.85.
SYNA keeps going. Yeah, 120. Let's see what happens at 120. That's where I'd be looking. 120 for SYNA. Mask. It must be morning because it's starting to come off. Coming down here to the VWAP, that looks like the support area from here. And if we lose that, then the next support area is going to be just under 3. IREN really turning around, coming back up. It's eyeing VWAP. Rocket Lab continues to make new highs, 96 now.
RDW also on the scanner here. That above yesterday's intraday high, back above 10. RD dubs.
Thanks for the heads up, G-Man, about the call wall. I expect that when we hit that $100 level, that we'll probably see some intense selling. But it's our second visit up here. Do we double top or do we break through it? Maybe we end up breaking through it on a third test, but I get the sense that if we continue to hit this $100 level, we're going to see the other side of it. We've only hit it once so far, and it's still going. Look at Rocket Lab. I think we have main engine cut off, and we're at stage separation. So we're now starting the second engine for orbital insertion. Vuzix high of day. I thought that was spectacular that this is started going here. We're almost at 3. I've noticed that this was starting to go a few days ago. And
this is Vuzi, right? VUZI.
Yeah. And I couldn't quite put my my finger on exactly what was driving this up, but there were a couple of things that I was looking at, and one of the things that I think we should keep an eye on here is going to be what comes out of the actually, I think that concluded today, the SID display week. That went on for all week, and it ends today. So, and it's been moving, pretty well this week while this has been going on. So, there's probably some really big highlights out of that exhibition. They had a booth there where they were displaying their Ultralight Pro and LX1 and Z1 smart glasses.
13, do you remember if we heard from Tom if there's going to be anything at Computex kind of related to some of these that might cause some of these stocks to move in sympathy?
We did briefly talk about how he was looking to go to that. I don't remember what we talked about as far as expectations for what companies are going to be there or what products might be there. But I would think that a lot of wearables are going to probably end up being at this.
That's exactly where I'm going with this. That is exactly it. Now, I don't think Vuzi's, presenting there or anything, but even if there's anything on wearables, it might move some of these others in sympathy.
Well, let's see. 2026. So that's going to be from June 2nd to June 5th is when this goes on. And we have an exhibition list here. We could certainly, give me a second. I'll see if I can figure out if they're there or not.
Tesla looks like, sorry, go ahead.
Vuzix doesn't appear like they're going to be at Computex.
Right. So it's going to have to be other wearables companies that we're going to have to watch for. See if it maybe moves some of these other ones. Just a thought. It was just a random thought. It's okay that they're not reporting there.
And just to help you all out here, here is the website for Computex. There you go.
Boom.
Yeah, Rocket Lab almost 100. It looks like we ticked 98.10 and we kind of backed off a bit. One company that's having a pretty good day is Redwire. That's up 10.32 right now.
Trey says, good call, Ryan. Just got out of Akamai. Trey.
Nice.
Let's go, dude. Here, let me register, ring it up, right? Register, ring it up. We had that nice little short setup there. Now it looks like it's bouncing. You collected how many points on that short? 5, 6? Way to go, Trey. Happy Friday, boss.
Oracle, Reginald mentioning Oracle above VWAP and shooting.
Got it.
This, I think this has a pretty interesting resistance area at around 200. Noticeably resistance this morning. So kind of wondering if we get a lot of selling pressure at that 200 level. And then there was Joe's asking, could I interpret today's AMPX refi news? Give me a moment. I'll take a look at that.
Joe, I feel like you have your head on a swivel every single day. And I appreciate it because sometimes we talk about some of these stocks, then they fall off the main burner for me. You're constantly bringing us back to some of those. And I just wanted to throw that out there. I appreciate that quite a bit. I think that helps our group. That's a net positive for our group. And then what was it? Kuri? I don't know if he's still here. Kuri from this morning just said earlier today during the welcome, just buy calls every day. Well, guess what? If you did that again today, you are up. In fact, you're up 60% if you're doing 0 DTE calls from the open here today.
Big turnaround for Iron, by the way.
Okay. Let me put Iron up on screen here. So this did kind of bounce off the lows from the pullback after the earnings. NVIDIA pulling back. 217.80 was your high. Ondas bouncing. Palo Alto doing well. Jay, didn't you mention earlier software is hurting unless you're cybersecurity? Could have sworn that was a comment from you from earlier this morning. Apologize if I missed it earlier, but it does look like the cybers are outperforming.
Joe, so with regard to AMPX, are you referring to the warrant exchange? Because this is not so much a refinancing as it is a restructuring, and I think what the purpose of this is to reduce future dilution. So this is more of a restructuring is what I would be looking at here with this.
Intel, more pops here, 117. What a move on Intel. You're absolutely right, G-Man. Wow is right.
Yeah, and if you're a bit, an Intel bull, I would expect you to know about directed self-assembly, because that's going to be Intel's future.
Let me ask you, 13, are there other stocks in that theme that we might want to look at if we didn't necessarily want to go after Intel, or is that just an Intel only story, do you think?
There's only two other companies I can think of that are going to be actually using directed self-assembly, but they're taking a slower approach to it. That's Samsung and Taiwan Semiconductor.
Okay.
So Intel's kind of banking on this. They're leading the way. They're going to be aggressively using this. You should see production of that process. I think it's supposed to be later this year, if not next year. But TSM and Samsung, they're a little bit further out. They're more like 28, 29,
Yeah. All right. Ondas red to green, by the way, for all of you that were panicking earlier. Red to green. It's all going to be about the earnings next week. I think they're on the 15th. Also, really quickly here, just a reminder for anyone, I'm all out this already. Left it a little bit early, but still worked out here for a couple of points. NN, I had initially said 20 to 21. This thing actually put in 1973 here earlier today. If we zoom out a little bit, you'll notice that 1975, I think, somewhere about there was the high there from Monday earlier this week. So NN, if you took this one, think about maybe closing it or at least booking something there. I'm all out this one. Alps wants to take a look at Moderna, mRNA.
Okay. While you're pulling that up, Vuzi just crossed 3 for the first time since February.
Moderna here, nice power rip today, Alps. Let me ask you, do you think this gets over the high that we had from the pre-market yesterday, the pre-market / open? This thing's already up 8.5% here today. This is a good rip, though.
This is off of their phase 3 flu data, right?
Yeah, I think so.
From earlier this week?
Yeah, publication of its phase 3 study results evaluating the mRNA 1010 in the New England Journal of Medicine. And I think this one here on the positive phase 3, I think this is just kind of a recap article.
I think you're also getting more continuation of this because it's squeezing. You have an 18.33% of the float short with 11.4 days to cover.
Okay, so you have some squeeze potential on here too. So Alps here saying it's trying to break higher. Alps, do you have a price target on this? I would say it certainly looks like this 55, 56, your next area of resistance. We also looks like we have a short-term trend line here, 13.
I kind of like 63. If you draw a horizontal line and look to the left, just keep looking to the left, I think you'll notice how we had support at that level in November of 2023. And that was also a resistance and then support area back in 2020 when it was first starting to make its parabolic run up.
There's your horizontal line. Here's backing it out a little bit. Yep. Oh, look at that, 13. That's crispy. Thinking about it, says Moderna will never put anything in my body made by this company. Amen. Me either. But the stock is moving.
Rocket Lab 99.
59.55 is your target. Okay, thank you, Alps. Sorry, 13. Rocket Lab, you were saying?
Rocket Lab 99, yep.
Why hasn't Velo taken advantage of the pop in rocket or space stocks? Didn't Velo go on like a recent
It did, but stocks don't take advantage of others' runs. It's something that traders end up doing, where they trade these in the basket. I don't think just because one's going that you're going to see every single one of them go. Velo's not having the worst day, but I still think this one's going to be a great stock, especially when you have that because of how closely tied it is to SpaceX and Anduril. There were some, I think it was one of those situations where they needed to raise some capital. But I still think this is one of the best space plays. I mean, look into what the technology they have that they're using.
And who they do business with is another really key part of that 13.
Yeah. So, and I don't necessarily think it's like, a stock's going to take advantage of other stocks moving. It's traders that are, trading relationship names and baskets of these. But, this thing's just give it time. I think this will be one of the better.
Yeah, you've got me on this one, 13. You've got me on the longer time frame on this one. I'm not necessarily looking for a 2, 3, 4 point pop. I want to double off this, and I can wait a year or years for that.
And some of these have gone on some great runs in the past. I don't know what we'll see substantial runs like that, but when we get these SpaceX IPO, I do expect there to be a halo effect. I think that a lot of these names will lift in favor of that. I mean, look at what Redwire is doing today, and that recently had news that about potential share dilution that took it down to 840, and now it's over 1067. I think you just got to be patient with some of these.
Redwire, just all green candles, all green volume candles. By the way, Akamai, so if you were trading this for a bounce instead of the short, still congrats to you, Trey, on the short. But if you're playing this for a bounce, we're basically right back up to that short entry trigger area.
Faux halted to the downside. I'm just waiting for that headline about the share issuance.
Captain Faluna, how's your AI positioning going? What do you mean by that? AI positioning? I don't have an automated trading. I think that might be what you're referencing. I talked about having some of these indicators being developed into an automatic trading system. I have not done that yet. So I guess you could say that it's not going well because I don't have it up and running, if that's what you're referring to. Apple 294.5. Palo Alto stopped just shy of 200. Bitcoin's curling, that recaptured 80K. And the VIX also trading up here. Oil up by 0.5%. Long AI positions. Well, I took AMD for a swing. We reached target 1 here today, and I trimmed that. Otherwise, I guess the only other AI I'm exposed to is going to be Apple, obviously, Google long-term, but those are all long-term positions. So don't really have anything else. Let me look. Yeah, I mean, we just talked about Velo. That's not necessarily AI. Ondas maybe has an AI angle. Kopin maybe has an AI angle. IDAI, that thing can't get out of its own way. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. So I could probably actually use a little bit more positioning. I'm not too heavy. Or AI names, if we do get this correction that a bunch of people think that we're getting, which it makes sense to me, if we do get that, my primary ads will be in a lot of the AI names. Hope that answers your. What are your favorite AI positions, Aura? What are your favorite long-term ones? God, AMD still at the highs, 437. Michael Intrader was on CNBC. That's the CoreWeave CEO. Talked about that a little bit. How's CoreWeave doing here today?
Joe, without digging more into that to get an accurate price, I really can't answer that in a short period of time. But I think this is more meant to give the company more flexibility in their financing. So I don't, I'd have to spend more time in order to get like an idea of what prices we could value this at. But this is more so that the company isn't so, I think, dependent on I'm trying to just have things ready to go. I think they're trying to move more towards a contract based business to keep their costs down. But like I said, I'd have to spend more time on that to get you an accurate figure. Well, yeah, but the thing is that the whole idea with AMPX is that it's a big drone battery name.
And so if you start to see the drone names turn around a little bit, AMPX might go with that.
Right.
And obviously we've seen weakness in that. Lion here saying, I've got calls in RDW expiring in June. They're starting to look yummy. Yeah, I don't doubt it, especially after the move here today. Lion, what calls are those again? How high do you think Redwire can go? Good trade there. Chicago Realtor, good morning. It's great to see you as always. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about Abbott Labs and Medtronics. Is now a good time to build a position? Do you see more downside? So I actually don't own either of those. The one I'm more interested in is Abbott Labs. That was actually like a top conviction pick, I think, by Josh Brown. Don't quote me on that. I don't want to speak for him, but I believe he liked Abbott.
Yeah, Medtronic's just one of the ones that I have held for a while, and I was selling a good amount of it when it was over 100. And now that it's at a discount, actually it's pretty close to my cost basis. I'm starting to I have limit orders out to add more. It's going to pick it back up. I think it's at a discount. I think that down here at these prices, the dividend yield is a lot more attractive. So that's where I'm at with Medtronic, and it's it's like one of the biggest medical device companies in the world, and I'm not concerned about their dividend. They make a great amount of money, even if they're a lot of their net income goes towards dividend. It's pretty safe.
438 now. AMD. Wowzers. Lion, thank you. Those are the 11 calls expiring in June on Redwire. Trey likes MDT as well.
Alpha Aura says DXYZ is gumping.
What is gumping?
It's lockbox chocolates. I don't know.
13.
VIX and SPY climbing symbiotically.
The VIX is higher today, and so is the SPY. Not the first time Liberatus has mentioned that. All right, and folks, we're going to be moving over to Anne-Marie here in 7 minutes. 13, can you drive the boat for a sec so I can go to the washroom before Anne-Marie's segment?
Sure.
BRB.
All right, who's got the skis? Anyway, let's take a look and see what we've got going on here with these movers. So 99 was the print for Rocket Lab, and now we're seeing some weakness here. AEHL trying to hold above its VWAP. Don't know if it will. Mask, this looks like we're trying to still push up over that trend line that we drew earlier. Seller still in the way at 329. A little bit more higher volume, we'll be able to chew through that seller. AIIO, this is still having a hard time getting back into the dollar territory. So don't know what we're going to get out of this one. This also may have share dilution coming as it needs to pay for that acquisition. ACAM, this has turned around after hitting a low of 132.85. It's making its way up towards it's out over 140 right now, but I think the 65 EMA on the 5-minute is going to be the resistance area where the price might have trouble. INOD kind of going sideways. This looks like it may fall back down towards its VWAP. And PHOE, this continues to sell off as expected. This one's going to have share dilution as well in order to pay for their acquisition. I believe it was 100 million shares they're going to be issuing at $10 a share. BA high of day. More Nintendo today. More Nintendo. Let me look and see what NT. I added a little bit more of this yesterday.
NT Doi, one of my favorite tickers.
It's still continuing lower. They had earnings today too, so probably reacting to that. Missed on sales, EPS in line.
I heard that they're raising the price of the Switch 2.
They're going to have to do that because the sales of the Switch 2, I think it still met targets, but it wasn't explosive. There's I think they had to reduce production of that as well because the sales just weren't where they were hoping they would be, but I think they still met some of their lower end targets. I'll would have to look through their earnings report. They're looking at lower sales and lower EPS. Fine. I still think this is an attractive company to pick up. So I've been adding to it. And, remember Tim was saying that he likes Japan. This is a Japanese company. I think 2027 will probably be a better year, but that's why I'm adding this year. And I've been picking this up for some time now. So I do like
weakness.
Yep, I do
Don't
like
chase the green candles.
I mean, it's at a pretty steep discount off the highs from last year. So there's also that. But this is getting down to some of the levels that I was owning it at before it went on that run last year. So this is fine. And I'm looking forward to. There may even be a lift coming in this company next month because they're going to have their Nintendo Direct webcast or whatever it is it's called. They have it every year in June, and they announce the games that are coming in the second half of the year. So there could be some movement there coming.
SanDisk up another 10%. So the universe is in order, you're saying?
Buzz Lightyear. Actually, I think it's just called Star Fox because it's basically a remake of the Star Fox 64, but they're adding a little bit more to it, a little bit more PvP, a little bit more challenge modes. So it's not just a complete sole remake of the game, but they're adding more to it. But yeah, I saw that announcement that came out earlier this week. I'm excited for it. I know a lot
Star
of
Fox was never one of my favorite Nintendo titles.
That was I liked it. It was a fun title.
Yeah,
lots of memes.
I had a bunch of buddies that did too. It just wasn't my thing. Thank you. 18K morning going to Home Depot. Ooh. Yassine, dude. Here, you're going to get a register ring for that. Enjoy Home Depot. Hopefully don't spend it all there.
He's going to build a house.
He's the roofer of the house.
Oh, nice. S&DK up 10%. Jeez, where's the top in this thing anyway?
1474 right now.
Watt, you guys like, right? Seems to have 30-minute support for pullback entry. This one, I think, is it thinking about it? That was bringing this one up a lot.
Yeah, and this is one of his cores, I think.
This is one that we've traded in the past, and we were kind of wondering if we would ever see wireless charging with EVs, and I think that's what this is geared towards, wireless charging. They have earnings in 5 days, so next Wednesday, find out how what this thing can do. Let's see. Look at the chart here. So we have pulled back off the highs. Man, this thing is in the 20s. I remember when this thing was like under $5. Maybe they had some reverse splits. I don't know I don't have any expectations for earnings. I haven't been on this one, but I would like to, if I was in this, I'd like to see it hold 21.
Wiss asking, Ryan, did you go over Google launching Fitbit Air? I did not. DraftKings trading up here. What is that? Is that news from this morning, Wiss? Google introduces the all-new Fitbit Air. Fitbit Air is compatible with Android and iOS and available for pre-order starting today for $100. Google Fitbit Air Special Edition will be available for pre-order today and on shelf. It's $130. Accessory bands are available. So it's just a new Fitbit. What is the Fitbit Air? What's the deal with it? This was from yesterday. I did not cover this. All right, 13. We're out of time here for today. Boy, the time really flies. It is time for Anne-Marie. You had any closing words for the group here ahead of the weekend?
Well, it's been a very fun weekend, a very productive weekend. Hope everybody's got all their trading that they want done, because now it's the weekend and we get to go and pat ourselves in the back. So, folks, congratulations on all the success you had this week. Looking forward to coming back here and trading with you next week. Enjoy Anne-Marie. She's going to give you some great options ideas. I will see you all on Monday. Enjoy your weekends, everybody. Take care. Goodbye.
All right, 13, take care of yourself. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. 13's departure leaves room for Anne-Marie. Let's see how she's doing. Oops, I put her screen on before her because the list changed. Anne-Marie, how are you?
I am doing very well, Ryan. And Micron is $700 a share today.
I know. Micron, SanDisk, a lot of craziness out there. Where do you want to start?
Well, we talked about Tesla last time. So let's talk about where that target is coming to. We can see a lot of times when we get into, it's so funny. I talk to these agents, AI agents, all the time about what I perceive the pattern to be. And a lot of times they'll go, I don't think so. And I will just drill harder and harder. And this is one of those things that I think is real, that the chart has trouble. The AI has trouble saying, oh, all right, well, let's see if we can measure that. And so my big thing is learning how to ask it properly so that it delivers what it is that I want. But we talked about this motion in Tesla moving upward, and if it broke out of this edge, it was going to walk up through these bands into the target of the prior earnings event, which is 440, and that's only 14 bucks away. And it did that in literally, okay, we talked about them on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we moved from 387 to 423, just like that, in these kinds of mad zany markets that we have. So the good news is everything's still tracking towards its edge. The troublesome news is if we lose our purchase, a climbing term that means whether you're ice hook holds or whatever, if we lose that edge and it fades, these fades could be very sharp. And so the question to the trader is always, hey, what are you looking for and how long are you willing to give that room? My thought is the second you even smell something that smells even the smallest like smoke, hit the fire escape, you can always get back in.
I see what you did there with the fire escape and the smoke and all that. Yeah, I got you. I hear you clucking big chicken. That's awesome.
I told Ryan this morning I had a fire alarm in the building. I was standing out there wondering, okay, is something actually on fire? Or did some knucklehead just decide they were gonna, pull a switch?
You know
Which
what
it
it
was
could
option
be?
B.
It
What?
could be somebody just burned rice in their unit, and
Oh
then that
my
set off the
word.
smoke alarm because they forgot to
Oh,
get
that
rice off
could
the
be
burner,
it.
and then they cooked it. Not that I've done that
is-
before, just saying.
All right. So the question to you might be, do we want to look at a couple of things that are screaming higher to see what our intraday mechanical motion can tell us that we drive into the edge of the day, or do you want to look at something that's got a little bit more range on it? What are you thinking?
I would like something that has a little bit more range on it. That would just be me personally, though.
Okay, so perfect. This is a very big level that Micron has got in here, and it's doing it on diminishing volume, but it's above. If you have the test that says doji in your scanner on Thinkorswim, use it and measure it for high volume, because if it's higher than average volume, the break on either side of that doji tells you how far it's going to run. It's truly a very lovely, simple event. And so this last doji from yesterday, it broke out of the top. It's going to run the range of the doji, potentially more, but as we've got diminishing flows, this one is coming to the top, but you know, who wants to step in front of that bus? My thought is, remember, big money never leaves the market. They only rotate into other products. In the very rare cases, we rotate and stay in rotation, but we have to have a crisis first. And we really don't have a crisis. I don't know if all of the chatter of, hey, private equity is not a problem. Hey, private equity is not a problem. Hey, private equity is not a problem. You're saying that a lot. Maybe private equity is a problem. I have no idea. So that could be it. But these things are getting so long in the tooth. The question might be, if they do rotate, where will they rotate to? And so insider buying shows software buyers on the inside and semis sellers. They're insider sellers more than they're insider buyers. So if we want to look at software or software as a service, or we want to do something like that, you know, we can do that. My favorite thing would be, let's see who reported earnings in the last couple of days, and let's try to track some of that for the next 3, 4, 5 days of trend. So who has reported? We had these, did these guys report? Terribly. Yeah, and they are at the bottom of the range.
That's Microsoft you have?
No, that's Cloudflare.
Oh, Cloudflare, NET.
Yeah. So Cloudflare, it moved to the, look at this. Look at how well these things measure. Literally. And this is the one I had to fight with AI over, where it went, no way. There's no way that that's true. And so I'm just saying, I'm seeing it with my eyeballs, so I'm going to trust it. Maybe the regime is different overall, but here's what I'm seeing. We broke down to the bottom. It held the 50% of the range. And then we broke out, broke down, held the top of the range, and then stopped right there before we moved, which interestingly is very close to that last earnings event. So what are we headed here to do? Now, we know how many people use Cloudflare because of the time when Cloudflare was the reason that Microsoft had that outage, right? So it was crazy. My thought is this is coming into a potential dip buy, but we don't know how it's going to end today. And that being said, I would suspect that something that pulls into the 167 that gives us a shot back up to fill that earnings candle, so 234. Let's see if there's a cheap butterfly that we can find for the next, I don't know, 10 days. My gut says we need to give it more time, but let's give it a whirl. Here's Cloudflare. So that's 7 days. And if we do that, we've got, if we use 200 to 210 to 220, it's $1.64. The measurements tell us that we really have, maybe we use the 210 to 220 to 230. Let's see how much more expensive that is, or how much cheaper that is. 210, 220, 62 cents. Feels like a pretty cheap run if the market continues to rally. 61 cents for $1,000 of upside. So $61 for $1,000 of upside feels very cheap. If you're thinking to yourself, holy cow, that might take a hot minute to fix itself, then you could move into June. Let's see what, let me take a look at Trade Wave here and see what we can see about net. AMD has got really good numbers.
Tell me about it. AMD had my favorite chart formation set up perfectly yesterday, and it worked overnight. Already hit spot one today. So I'm loving AMD right now.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, listen, the stats here on net are net long 50-50, some up, some down, and then the average loss 3%, but the average gain 32% with a 20% standard deviation. That's huge. But the trend long is definitely sitting in our favor. And so if we give it a little bit of room into June, let's see if we can get it even cheaper than that, or if it gets more expensive. So 210, 220, 230, about the same price, maybe 10%, 12% more expensive. You could always push the envelope a little bit and say 210, 230, 250, but that's $2. I would rather buy two of these for twice as much range and then pay less for it because it's got that motion. So that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. That's we know a lot of people use it. We had earnings really caught in this formation, which tells us the pullbacks are likely to be buy zones. If gun to head, if I were to say, hey, what are we looking at? I'd say pay the extra 9 cents and go to June. Give it a little time to work in your favor.
That's generally what I do too. If I'm looking at two trades that are the same and I get more time for a small amount of cost increase, I almost always do that because it's just anything can happen. And I've seen better success. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Same. All right. So next one that we had that just reported. Who was it? It wasn't Intel, was it? No. Intel is, look at that thing.
We had Coinbase report last night. We had CoreWeave report last night. Net, Snap. Let me actually, I'm not sharing my screen. I can't share with the group.
Oh, sorry.
No. Oh, sorry. No.
Yeah.
No. Well, here. So I guess I can utilize this to show you too, Anne Marie. This is a cool new feature. We released a new feature in Pro yesterday. Well, we released a new version of Pro yesterday after hours. And one of the features is that we renamed the calendar market events because it's more descriptive than calendar. So
great.
FYI, keep that in mind. But in the earnings market events, we added a little shortcut here to display the earnings graphic. So that nice little graphic that Enver makes for us every week that outlines the biggest earnings. I think it's great having a table with all of the data, but this at a glance calendar is so
fantastic.
easy. So you're asking me about yesterday, Thursday, Airbnb, Lyft, Coinbase, CoreWeave. Looks like MDX there. Monster reported. So plenty of Affirm, DraftKings.
Oh, okay. DKNG. All right, so everybody's still sitting in their pockets of the frameworks. So what is DraftKings doing here? Let's put a 50 simple moving average up here. All right. What do we think is going on? Do we think that the prediction markets are sort of sucking revenue out of
Yes.
these?
Yes,
Okay.
we do. But here's the other dynamic to that, Anne-Marie. We do think that. And one of the reasons we think that is because there's more regulation on the gambling names than the prediction market names. Now, if you think about the future of how this might go, you could then say to yourself, well, they might do some regulation on these prediction markets, and that may then shift the balance back to some of the. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, but yes, we absolutely think that prediction markets are taking away from online sports gamblers. Yeah.
All right. So if you know what, that okay. All right. So the thought here might be, I mean, clearly we've got downward flow, right? I mean, if I just move one of these and make it a 200, we can see the clear downward flow that the price action is sitting in.
Yeah.
And so the bounce is going to give us a sell zone, but it could be a bounce event that we have here in this doji formation. It looks really sideways to me. Here's the last doji event that broke down and then broke out. So let me draw a Fibonacci. Oopsie. Let me draw a Fibonacci right there. Yeah, that's at the top of the box. Yeah, I don't see anything there. I don't see a good solid trade. I see a short up here at 32. I'm going to put an alert here for us.
And I think we talked about this maybe having some room up to 32, 33. So it's good to hear that you have the same area there where you're looking for it short.
Yeah, most definitely. This also could be this 30 at the last big earnings event. That 30 could give it a little bit of trouble because it's a big fat round number. And then look at where we're sitting right now. The low of this earnings candle, we're just doing everything we can to stay above it. So my thought would be, if we lose this low underneath this edge, it could bring us back down into this old earnings candle right here in the 20s. So, I mean, there's a good trade here. The risk on it is just a bit wide. So, you got to think, when you get into a trade, you got to go, okay, why am I in here? What is my conviction rate about having a trade? Am I just putting it on just because I can put it on?
And what is it versus the risk, right? Like what is
exactly. And when it's between the two most important moving averages that I look at, the 50 and the 200, it is a little bit of a coin toss in terms of where it goes. So there's that.
Yeah, I see, Anne-Marie, you were talking about the AI thing earlier. I think that you're so very much like Chuck Norris. Anne-Marie, you're so good at this that the AI argues with you, not the other way around, right? That's really what's happening here. Anne-Marie doesn't argue with the AI. The AI argues with her.
Hang on, let me get a screenshot of your face so I can put this. I'm going to print it out and then it'll be under my pillow.
Oh, that's
very nice.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, that's very kind. So here, this really is the, why do these earning candles matter? They matter because it's a flow event that everybody watches. Big money normally comes into it. And then once it stabilizes after the noise, everybody catches that rhythm and then runs with it. It's just natural institutional flow. after news about forward guidance has been put on. Now, will that change how prices move if we end up to twice a year having earnings? For me, I would love that, only because having worked with businesses that have to have reporting every quarter, it all they're doing is driving to that earnings number. They're not doing anything for the longevity of the business, which is why Michael Dell eventually went private, and him going back public again. I'm like, what is even whatever? But that's it. So you want to look at Airbnb?
Sure.
Oops. A, B, and B. Is that right? Yeah.
A, B, and B. Yep.
Okay. So the question with Airbnb right now is that the level of competition that they have in the space continues to expand. So whether or not it holds as a brand is really something to watch, since a lot of real estate folks are now going, hey, listen, if we can't sell your house, let's rent it while you're away, or whatever like that. And so there's a lot of real estate going into that. All this earnings event did was push it into the top of a high that it had a couple of weeks ago. And look at how flat this formation is. Let's take a look at a weekly. Yeah, I mean, this thing's flat as a pancake. Could you say, hey, if it gets to 110 or 115, I'll sell a put spread on it? Yes. But if it holds this zone, if it can close above 149, 150, the top of the box is 165 here. So, I mean, there's room to run. There is definitely room to run. The question is, at what cost? So let's see how long it takes it to do that. This is weekly. So we have earnings. We broke out of the earnings pocket, came in, held the low of that earnings event, and then now we're breaking to the north, which is the base of this prior earnings event. I would wait for the pullback. Maybe it doesn't come all the way to 115. Maybe it ends up coming to 130, and then that gives us the long to 165. You could say, all right, well, while I'm waiting for that, I can just sell an iron condor up here. I don't envision Airbnb making brand new highs, but I had no idea there were over 3,400 billionaires in the world. There used to be like 130 back in, way back in the day, but Forbes just put out something that said, hey, we got over 3,400 billionaires. And these are the guys, not billionaires necessarily, but the the lower upper class and the upper class are the ones that are using this in big measured ways. And so do I think it has room to run past 175? I don't think so, because it's got so much compression. But I mean, you could sell a call up there. You could sell a put down here. If you're looking for something really cheap and you believe in this, you can sell spreads on the outside. But directional flow, look at the movement of these candlesticks. One up, one down. These are weekly candles. One up, two down, three down, and then three up. Everything's retracing itself. So there's a lot of care we have to take with these guys. I would say let's wait until it hits those edges and we're off to the races.
Sounds like a condor to me, right?
Yes, exactly. I think a condor would be very nice. Very, very nice. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so what else might we peek at going through the motions here? Let's look at that list on the Benzinga pattern.
Got it here for you.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, there we go. I'll just stare at yours.
Lift, coin, core weave. I would say probably one of
All
those
right,
three.
let's look at core weave.
Perfect. That's what I was hoping you'd say.
So this one's pretty interesting. We can see that it's got fair flow. It's above its averages. And look at how, well, it is only 10:30. It's 11 o'clock, thereabouts. Look at the earnings. Look at the candlesticks into earnings. Look at this. Yeah. This is outsized flow here. This is 4.2 times the normal flow. That's gigantic. On what? I don't have any idea. It was not an earnings candle. It still beats that earnings candle all to pieces. 2 days of extreme upward flow puts it at the top of this candlestick that broke to the north, where we're sitting here. You know, pullbacks are buy zones. If you're saying to yourself, can I make money here? The question might be, what is proving itself out to be support? And so this candlestick right here, this ledge where it closes at 102, is the floor where big money came in. So it literally moved $9 and then some that day. So if you wanted to trade and say, hey, I want to go long, you could easily say, CRWV, friend. All right. You could say, hey, I'm going to wait for my price action to come down into that 93 area, and then I'm going to buy it. Or you can do something that gives you a little bit of room, but is expensive. And so you can see that the open interest there is 44,000. So you know that they are positioned there very well, but it's going to be expensive to trade. If you're saying, hey, listen, 100, 120, 140, it's $5. Now, you could easily say, hey, I don't really care. I'm going to trade that and take it. Or, you know, you might do something like a reverse back ratio, right? Like if you think it's going to run, you sell the 110, but then you buy 2 115s. It's expensive, but it gives you pure upside flow. If this thing takes off like a rocket ship, you're going to have tons of price action in your favor moving to the north. My thought is wait for the dip and let it do that for you at 93 or 94, $93 or $100. Do we love hearing that? You know, no, wait. Who wants to hear that? Nobody really wants to hear wait. But we are getting so long in the tooth. The question really has to be, if I go long here, what's the risk? And that continually sits in my mind all the time. Really, it ends up telling me, you know, you probably ought to chill out, or you probably ought to just trade this for the next 3 hours and then you're done. You know, that ends up being something that I look at. So right at 11 o'clock,
you do it perfectly all the time. I'm just glad you're not being evacuated from your building. That's never fun.
I know. And I think one of the workers, we did get all evacuated. Everybody's got their little babies that had woken up at the 10 o'clock hour and just everybody was screaming. But it turned out to be a workman that just leaned against something and accidentally set it
Oh,
off.
that's
So,
wonderful. That's just
I
absolutely
know.
wonderful. Glad they called the fire department for a worker leaning against something.
I
That's
know.
absolutely
Oh
phenomenal.
my
All right,
gosh.
Anne-Marie, we'll see you next week here. Just a heads up here.
Yes, sir.
Next week, we got a full week. The week after that, the 18th through the 22nd, I actually go on vacation starting on the 21st. So we have no show on Friday, the 22nd, and we will also have no show on Tuesday, the 26th. So chat, don't worry. I'll be reminding you of all of those dates. And don't be mad because 13, myself, and the producer all decided to take vacation at the same time so that we wouldn't have to have multiple outages of the show, right? We tried to do that smart, and that's coming up here. So, all right. Great
Love
stuff.
it.
Have a good weekend, Anne-Marie. We'll check in with you next week.
You too. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. That is Anne-Marie. Her departure leaves room for Paulo. Let's go ahead and see how he's doing. Paulo, happy Friday. How you doing, man?
Hi, Ryan. Happy Friday. Can you hear me successfully?
I can hear you great. What do you got coming up for us?
Perfect. As always, we're going to be checking some setups. Strong rallies on semiconductor stocks, AMD, Marvel, Micron Technology, unbelievable. So let's try to see where we could extend these rallies and what could be other stocks breaking out for the next upcoming weeks.
All right, sounds good. Paulo, I think it was last week, maybe we had Sandy on, maybe it was the week before. You had a lot of people in chat saying, hey, that trade that Paulo gave on Marvell made me a ton of money. So hats off to you. Really good stuff. Look forward to some more of those coming.
Nice, thank you. Let's absolutely check Marvel too.
All right, perfect. Trading Made Simple with Paulo starts right now.
Thank you.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fits-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. How is it going? I hope we are all having a great week. And let's get started here. First, I would like to thank you, everyone, for the positive feedback on the trade for Marvel. It's going very good, as the other semiconductor stocks too. Let's see what other semiconductor stocks could be leading some potential upside momentums. Also, we're going to check some software stocks that might be similar opportunities, such as Marvel when we were talking about them some weeks ago. And as always, if anyone would like to request any chart, any ticker, any stock that we would like to see, I got the chat room here to the right. So of course we can check it out. Just type the ticker in the chat room and I would be more than happy to check it out. Let's start here with a broad analysis here with the indices, and then we're jumping into individual stocks and requests too. So S&P 500 remains bullish. The S&P 500 remains bullish, and it does look like we're still developing wave 3 under a new Elliott wave cycle. All right, so we were discussing potential wave 1 going from oversold into overbought as usual. Wave 2 goes all the way back to equilibrium, which is a range from 40 to 60. In this case, we went all the way to 37. I would say it's the same because we already had a strong recovery. We retested here resistance. And we're actually starting to break out on the momentum indicator too. All right, on RSI weekly time frame, we also got a bullish MACD crossover with rising histogram, which would be indicating that momentum is still strong. Momentum is not slowing down on the S&P 500, despite this very strong recovery we actually had starting April. Another thing I do like about the S&P 500 here is that we got expanding Bollinger Bands. We got expanding Bollinger Bands, which is indicating volatility is still increasing for the S&P 500, and we could still have higher price targets. We do got a minor resistance trend line, which is this white trend line here, which joins the top from December 2024, and also the top from from December 2025. Is it? Yes, correct. So it's a 2-3 year, no, 2 year validation, a 2 year trend line. So we would need to break higher here. Basically, we would need to start breaking above 74,000. If we can break above 7,400, if we can break above 7,400, we would be looking for a breakout. Maybe we can consolidate here a bit, retest support at 7,100 and break higher. But since this is pointing towards being a wave 3 for the S&P 500, this looks bullish. Now, what I do think that it is going to happen, but this is just my opinion, and the market doesn't care about my opinion. The market will do what the charts signal, but right now my opinion will be based on what the charts are currently signaling right now. If maybe tomorrow, next week, they get invalidated, of course, we would have to be objective and see what the charts would be flipping to. But this does appear that we are going to see the AI bubble, the real AI bubble. Of course, right now, semiconductor stocks are overextended, but I do think we're really going to see irrational prices in the market. My bias currently would be that we're going to have a blow off top in the market. And later, of course, that would end up on a bear market. But I do think we're going to continue running strongly. We're going to see our rational prices. And I do think we're going to see a blow off top in the S&P 500. This would be a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. So when would I start looking for a top in this market? When? So if this is a wave 3, we're going to continue higher, not necessarily on a single line, but we're going to continue higher, and we will have a wave 4 correction. All right, we will have a wave 4 correction, and then after that wave 4 correction, we're going to make one more all-time high. So after the upcoming correction that maybe could be around September, October, I don't like to get that millimetrical with time frames and that, but there should be a wave 4 correction, and after that wave 4 correction, we should make higher highs, and then is where I would really start looking for a potential top in this market. What do we have for the Dow? The Dow is actually lagging in the market. We have not yet been able to break higher. I do think we're going to break higher also on the Dow. We're starting to have here a bullish MACD crossover on the weekly. Histogram flip positive too. But momentum would actually be on the NASDAQ. And here is where that blow off top, it's much more evident. So we had the breakout from the structure. All right, we had the breakout from the structure, wave 1, new elite wave cycle. We had a zigzag ABC correction. We bounced perfect, well, not perfect bounce, but almost from the retest of the rising wedge pattern. We broke out, retesting the breakout. Look, this move. And what I do like the most about the NASDAQ is that we got expanding Bollinger Bands after all this move, with the RSI breaking higher too, and with MACD flipping bullish, and the histogram continues rising. So while the histogram continues rising, this is still a strong breakout for the NASDAQ, and we're still running. So I do think we're going to see this blow off top, wave 3, wave 4, and similar to SPY to the S&P 500. After the upcoming correction, the next brand new all-time high, then I would be really looking for a potential top in the market. Besides NASDAQ, who could lead this momentum? Small caps. We got here IWM coming out from a stage 1 accumulation. We got a double bottom. We broke out. We successfully retested the double bottom, and this also looks like a wave 3 for IWM on a running flat correction. ABC, a running flat ABC correction, 3-point correction. And similar, I would say the same, wave 3. Then we would have a wave 4 correction, and when we confirm with the wave 5 higher, then I would be looking for a potential top. And one sector, I call it sector because the thing with RKK is that they do manual rebalances, and sometimes the timing has not been the best. Of course, I know they're not that focused on technical analysis. They're more focused on the companies and the earnings. But what I do with RKK is I track it as a sector, as high risk, high growth tech stocks, speculative stocks, right? And I do think that if we start breaking here higher on RKK, that would be a very strong risk on signal for the broad market. Two things I like about the chart on RKK is that this clearly looks like a stage one accumulation, especially keeping in mind the volume profile. Not also only the volume profile, we can also see the volume bars here showing this capitulation, this accumulation, very strong accumulation. So I would understand that this accumulation breaking out from a stage one, we're even retesting. This would be kind of the resistance range on the stage one accumulation. We're retesting that range and we're pointing towards a breakout. Now, which sectors could benefit from a breakout on RKK? Tesla, its a major holder. Genomics sector, right? CRISPR, all those biotech stocks too, and also fintech. Even though we are seeing a drop on those stocks, right? RKK is heavily positioned in that sector too. So I do think if RKK breaks higher, besides RKK, I would be looking at fintech, I would be looking at genomics and Tesla as an individual stock. All right, let's see a couple of trades here. I see we have some requests. We have for NVIDIA and Broadcom, and we're absolutely going to check them out. But first, we're going with Marvel. Congratulations. Who bought Marvel? Anyone would like to share it on the chat room? Very strong move, and we're still running. We're still running on Marvel. As mentioned, it is my biggest position. And thankfully, it is playing out very nicely here. Let's check it out. So Marvel would be on a wave 3. Marvel would be here on a wave 3. Bollinger Bands, I mean, can they even expand more? Crazy. What I do like a lot, all right, what I do like a lot about Marvel is that the volume is right here. In this crash, this was very strong accumulation for Marvel. We broke out, and all the semiconductor stocks are actually doing kind of like the same pattern. They're breaking out from these structures that joined the 2021 and 2024 highs. And this would be a wave 3 for Marvel. All right. Potential wave 3 top for Marvel. Since this is wave 1, this was the wave 2 correction. Wave 3 usually goes to the 1.6 Fibonacci extension. We already reached it. But sometimes it could also extend to the 2.6. Now, the rising histogram is actually indicating that we are going to continue running. For Marvel, we even broke out on the RSI. But I'm not sure that we're going to continue higher on the RSI. Remember that wave 3 usually has the highest point on the RSI indicator, and wave 5 has the bearish divergence. All right. So maybe Marvel could still run to 213. But for Marvel, when I would be getting out of this position, it's similar to what we have discussed for NASDAQ for the S&P 500. Let's actually bring here, where is the Elite Wave Impulse? So this would be the wave 1. This would be the wave 2. Wave 3 would be, let's say maybe we reach the 2.6. Then I would be looking for that wave 4 pullback. And as soon as we start confirming breaking higher from the wave 3, I would be getting out of the stock. Now, it's going to be difficult because as difficult that it is to buy when there is fear in the market, it is to sell when there is greed. So when we start hitting these targets, it's going to look like Marvel will never drop, right? Like we're just going higher and higher and higher, and the stock is never going to drop. And maybe I trim a bit my position. Maybe I take half profits. I do like this stock. And since the volume came here, I do still think that the upcoming years are going to be good for Marvel. But maybe, of course, it's important to take profits. So, and I wouldn't also be, I don't think we're not going to respect the elite wave structures. I do think we're going to see some irrational prices. We're already seeing a bit of irrational prices on semiconductor stocks, despite I'm macro long-term bullish on the sector. I do think as soon as we start seeing a potential wave 5 for semiconductors, they are going to correct. The bulls will take profits on it. So for Marvel, I do remain bullish. I think maybe wave 3, because of the expanding Bollinger Bands, I think wave 3 is pointing towards the 2.6. Initially, I was looking at the 1.6, but I think we're pointing towards the 2.6 at 213. And let's see if maybe that's the top for wave 3, maybe a bit of a sideways consolidation, and then the wave 5 higher. Another one I would like to show is AMD. I mean, oh my God, Jesus. Lisa Su, unbelievable. So what I do like about AMD, we got the inverse head and shoulders. We have the consolidation on wave 2. Bollinger Bands, I mean, can they really expand more? It's crazy. It's crazy how these Bollinger Bands are expanding, indicating that we're still going to continue higher. We're even, we're retesting a higher resistance trend line on the RSI, even though we're starting to break out. But as the other stocks, we have a rising histogram on the MACD. For AMD, this is still wave 3. So I do think AMD is running to 496, which would be the 1.6 Fibonacci extension. All right. I'm not sure we reached the 2.6 on this wave 3. That would be crazy. I don't think we can I'm not sure. I wouldn't say it's not possible, but I think maybe for AMD, wave 3 would be topping here, maybe slightly above our 1.6. Then I would be looking for the wave 4 correction and continuing higher. I see we have some requests too, but before we go into the requests, we got time. I would like to share a stock that I do think it's a good buy here. And of course, it would be on the software sector. Software sector, very bearish. We're completely lagging. It's very bearish sentiment. It's all about it's very bearish, the sentiment, but we're seeing bullish signals starting to build in. I mean, the current market sentiment is bearish. We're basically, I mean, not participating on this recovery on the software stocks. But what we're seeing is three important things, I would say. Four important things. First, this does look like a WXYXC 5-point correction on an elliott wave structure. This would be the first wave lower, recovery, second wave lower, recovery, and third wave lower. So I do think, applying elliott wave theory, that ServiceNow is looking like its corrective pattern has already ended, or at least might be ready to end. Another thing I do like is the volume. I do really like the volume coming in here, showing strong capitulation, panic selling. These volume bars are signaling strong panic selling. We got a bullish divergence. All right, check this out. This low was a lower low in price, but it was a higher low on the RSI momentum indicator. Not only that, it looks like we're ready to break above the resistance trend line for ServiceNow. Also, even though we still don't have a bullish MACD crossover, it kind of looks like we're building it. And you know what I like the most about ServiceNow? It's the same signal that we noticed for Marvel, and it is the insider trading. Insider purchases last 6 months for ServiceNow has basically 500,000 purchases against 30,000 sales. That's more than a 10-to-1. That's like 15-to-1, maybe. It's like a 15-to-1 buy insider buy ratio. It's very strong, and insiders are accumulating this stock here. It's evident. And I do think ServiceNow, it's a buy and hold. We could still consolidate. Maybe we could go into an accumulation phase, but I do think here this is where smart money gets into positions, and I do think ServiceNow would be a great buy setup. I actually started a position somewhere around 130. I did increase a bit more here around the 90s, and I might even buy a final. I might even do a final purchase, but I do like a lot here ServiceNow. Let's go with our request. NVIDIA, all right. I do like this one. and we're breaking out. So it's interesting that actually the most important semiconductor stock has not been participating in this move. Not yet, not yet. But it might be time to do so. So wave one, this would look like wave one. We got a zigzag ABC. Wave two, I do like we had a rising wedge pattern. We're successfully retesting it. We're bouncing. We're confirming with brand new all-time highs. We are confirming with brand new all-time highs. Bollinger Bands starting to expand. Oh, I see what's going on. We're going to pump it after earnings. Yeah, we're going to pump it after earnings. That's what's going to happen. We got rising histogram. We got bullish MACD crossover. It's looking strong. I think we're going to pump this stock after earnings. When is earnings? Run into Wednesday, May 20. Yeah, we're going to have one. Well, I don't like to try to predict earnings, but I do think we're going to see a strong breakout. And I also noticed something very interesting for NVIDIA. I'm not sure if this is still valid, okay? Let's bring it here. Holders. Insider transactions. Come on, you got to be kidding me. We got 60 million purchases for NVIDIA against basically 3 million sales. That's a 30-to-1 insider buy to sell for NVIDIA. I mean, how is this even possible? 60 million purchases against 2.7 sales? This is even stronger than the insider activity we saw for Marvel and for ServiceNow. It's crazy. It is. So I do think we're pointing here higher. I do think we're pointing here higher for NVIDIA. We're going to break, which could be a potential wave 3 target. Let's bring the Fibonacci extension. And where is it? It's right here. So if this would be wave 1, if this would be, oh, I already had it. I already had it. You gotta be kidding me. Oh my God. Really? So the wave 1, it's 2.90. So at least we should reach that level. We got the 1.6 at 367. Oh my God. Jesus. With that question, does that take out vesting of employee compensation? I wouldn't be sure. Unfortunately, I cannot confirm that. I wouldn't know about that. But this is looking like we could reach 300 per share, maybe even 365. And if that is the target for wave 3, I'm not sure where we could find the wave 5. The wave 5 top would even be higher. NVIDIA is looking strong. Let's go with Broadcom. And since we're seeing all this happening on insider activity, let's also bring here this for Broadcom. Insider activity for Broadcom, what is going on? Holders, insider transaction. Ooh, no. Well, at least we know it's not glitched, the insider transaction, because for Broadcom, we're seeing here 1 million shares against 600 purchases. We got 1 million shares against 600 purchases. And insiders are selling this. It does look, let's see the chart. We're breaking out. It does look like it's still a wave 3. Price action is still bullish, but they're not buying it here, which wouldn't be ideal. We got a rising MACD histogram here. We got a rising MACD histogram. We got expanding bands. So we're going to apply here some Fibonacci extension. We're going to apply some Fibonacci extension and see, it does look like we're going to see a blow off top with irrational prices. if this is a wave 3 for Broadcom, at least we would be reaching 500 per share. And wow, yeah, it does look like we could reach 600. Well, Jesus, I mean, it's looking very strong. It's looking very strong here. I think we still have time. Yes, let's see the next one. Well, with Micron, let me go 1 second with Micron because I already got it charted. And then we're going with HIMX. Okay, so for Micron, I do think this, yeah, Micron, we might be ready to find potential top, and I will show you why. Micron first, insider transaction, okay? Insider transaction for Micron. Look, if insiders are buying here, I don't know what I'm going to say about that. No. All right. Micron Technologies, we got 2,000, we got here 200K, 200,000 sales against 20,000 purchases. So insiders are already selling. All right. And Jesus, I should even see this on the logarithmic. I mean, yeah, we should even see it on the logarithmic. Let's see. Basically the same. You still cannot see it. So let's go back to the regular one. So for Micron, there is one thing that I don't like. That the Bollinger Bands are not expanding. They already made the move. So even though I do know this looks like buyer's climax, honestly. For Micron, this does look like this could have been a wave 2. This would be the wave 3. And this would be the wave 5. I'm not saying this has to be the top here for Micron, but the wave 5, it looks like it's a wave 5. So a potential top could be around the corner. Here, a wave 5. I also don't like the bearish divergence. We got this high against this high. It's a higher high in price, but it is a lower high. It is a lower high on the RSI indicator on the weekly. So momentum is starting to slow down a bit on the RSI, not on the MACD. MACD is still positive, rising histogram, but I think it would be a good point to start taking profits for Micron. I mean, the bottom was 60 and now we're 10x higher, trading around 700 per share. I would absolutely not buy it here. Well, Bollinger Bands are expanding a bit here. I'm starting to see it just a bit, but not as what we are seeing on AMD and also in Marvel still. Let's see our final chart here. Let's see also some of the questions, some of the comments. Thank you for the wonderful, thanks to you for your participation, for your attendance, and for your positive feedback. When I said Jesus, oh my God, nice comment there. I hope they pump it. Okay, this does look like we charted this stock some time ago because we got it here charted, and I don't remember following this chart. Let's give it a check. Let's do it quickly. I know we're running out of time. All right, we got expanding bands, so this breakout is pointing to continue higher. We're confirming with RSI higher high, and we got a rising histogram too. Oh, we do got a resistance trend line here. And there we are. Basically, there we are. I got to go to the week, to the monthly for this one. Interesting. I do like it if we can break above it. If we can break here, this would look like a double bottom. All right, this would look like a double bottom. We also got here a resistance trend line for the indicator too. We would kind of need to break there. Basically, this stock needs to break this week's high, and that would be 20. 20 for a round number 20. If we start breaking above 20 per share, there's no either way structure here. First, this could be maybe a wave one, but we don't have much to actually confirm that. We're going to close seeing the insider transaction. How about volume profile? Volume profile points a bit towards some accumulation here. I think if we break out above 20, it would look good. If we break out above 20, it would look good. And let's confirm here with insider transactions. What is going on here? Oh no, we don't have information about it. Where is this stock actually? It's a NASDAQ, but we don't got insider information for it, unfortunately. Who are the major holders? Really? 30% insiders, that's a lot. 18% institutions. Well, we don't see BlackRock and Vanguard here. We do got State Street, but with 0.92, not much. I prefer when I see BlackRock and Vanguard actually having 10, 12% between them. So that will be all for today. I would like to thank you everyone for your participation, for your attendance. As always, I would like to wish you a great week. So wrapping up, markets kind of look like we're going to continue higher. This does look like we're on a wave 3 for the S&P 500, for NASDAQ, also for small caps, for IWM2. Semiconductor stocks are still very strong. Everyone is bullish right now on them. I don't think they're going to be topping soon, but topping right now, but I would start looking for some potential tops in semiconductors, maybe in the couple upcoming weeks, upcoming month. Micron does look a bit more bearish. Some other stocks, semiconductor stocks, are looking good. And I do think software stocks right now are presenting good opportunities. We didn't check fundamentals for stocks, but for example, ServiceNow, it has crashed a lot and revenue continues higher. Fundamentals for ServiceNow are very strong. Maybe on our next session, we're going to start by checking fundamentals for those software stocks and seeing if they're really getting disrupted by AI, by Claude, by ChatGPT, or if in reality they would also be benefiting from all the AI that's being developed in the world. Thank you, everyone. I would like to thank everyone at the Benzinga team, at Ryan and Aaron, for inviting us here on Fridays to participate, to share some setups. Also, thank you to everyone in the chat room for their positive feedback. I hope we had a nice run on Marvel. I would absolutely let you know when I'm out of that position. And yes, thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend and see you later. Good luck on